Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Beast familiar for all. Perfect evolution of Queen Medusa at the beginning. Chapter 61. Yang Yuking thought of a possibility. Is this incident related to Shu Li? For a person like the principal, he always speaks only half of what he says, and how much he can comprehend the rest depends on his own ability. Yang Yuking thought that the principal was talking about Shu Li before talking about his position. Not just this time. Last time the principal personally asked her to pick up Shu Li, and asked her to come forward to protect Shu Li who offended the law enforcement team. This time he was mentioned directly in the office. If it was said that the principal had no arrangements for Shu Li, then Yang Yuking would definitely not believe it. It was also this time that the law enforcement team took action against Shu Li, and it became a chemical agent to speed up the principal sending her to the law enforcement team. If Shu Li wasn't as troublesome as he imagined, maybe the principal wouldn't be so impatient so soon. It seems that Shu Li is going to be a fuse, speeding up the friction between the principal and teacher Shu. Does an SSS level awakener really have that much energy? How can the principal and teacher Shu achieve this? Yang Yuking only felt that his throat was dry and his head was blank. It seems that I will be involved in it in the future, and I don't know how long I can live a good life. At the same time, Yang Yuking is also looking forward to what kind of disturbance this Shu Li can cause in the Royal Capital Academy. At this moment, Shu Li had no idea that there was such an undercurrent surging behind the seemingly calm school, and he was anxiously looking up news on the internet. The older the blood food flour, the longer it takes to digest. After Shu Li saw this conclusion, he began to enter the year. He remembered that the blood-eating flower swallowed by Medusa was more than 3,000 years old. I don't know how long this blood-eating flower will take. While thinking, Shu Li waited for the answer calculated by the system. Bored, he received a call from Lu Jiwan. Brother Shu, have you seen those posts on the internet? The first sentence Lu Jiwan opened his mouth stunned Shu Li. A post on the internet. Shu Li has been thinking about when Medusa will come out, so she doesn't care about the news on the internet. Even if she saw it, it will pass by quickly, so naturally she didn't see what Lu Jiwan said post. You still don't know? Then I'll make a long story short. I saw a lot of posts about you on the internet, and I felt something was wrong. Please ask my dad to check it out. My dad said that the teacher Shu who troubled us last time, they actually united several mentors and used their law enforcement team's power to smear you on the internet. Shu Li felt relieved after hearing Lu Jiwan's words, and said, if they like to slander, let them smear it. I don't care about the information on the internet. After a while, this incident will pass. With the experience of the previous life, Shu Li thinks that he has seen these controversies much more than people in this world. In the previous life, which of those celebrities would not be a trending topic in 3 or 2 days to attract everyone's attention? Whether it is true or false, no matter how big or trivial it is, it will only cause widespread discussion in a short period of time. After a long time, these things will pass, so Shu Li did not let this matter go on heart. Lu Jiwan's anxious voice came from the other end of the phone. Brother Shu, what happened this time is not easy. Discrediting you on the internet is just their first step. After this step is successful, they may have to take the next step. According to my father, they may want to using the power of the law enforcement team to avenge private revenge. I want to arrest you. This caught Shu Li's attention. Arrest me in. Does the law enforcement team have the power to arrest me? He still remembered that the principal had made it very clear to him in the principal's office that no one except the principal could control him at school, right? Can the law enforcement team forcibly go against the principal's wishes and directly arrest him? Brother Shu, this is what you don't know. The principal has always been at odds with teacher Shu. The two have been fighting tit for tat for many years, and they have always lived in peace. Your appearance obviously broke the balance between them, and you now it's from the principal's side again, so. Shu Li didn't pay attention to what Lu Jiwan said later. His attention was all attracted by the words, people from the principal's side. What's the matter? He only entered the school for a few days, how did he become someone from the principal's side? Wait a minute, wait a moment, just now you said that I am from the principal's side. Who said that? Lu Jiwan's voice paused for a moment, and then came back, didn't you go to the principal's office? And the last time the principal protected you in front of teacher Shu, and you killed Huang Yi's students again. May as Xu Shen's teacher secretly manipulated society. The more I talk about Lu Jiwan, the more uncertain I feel, because Xu Li really doesn't seem to know this. No, brother, you are not from the principal's side. Xu Li shook his head. No, the principal just asked me to tell me about the tutor. As for killing Huang Yi's students and offending Mr. Xu, you all know that I was called over forcibly at that time. I still don't know what's going on, and I don't know that there is such a relationship in it. Lu Jiwan's voice was full of horror. Could it be that we have misunderstood the same as Teacher Xu? It turns out that Teacher Xu has always regarded Xu Li as his imaginary enemy. From the beginning to the end, Xu Li never revealed which faction he joined. When Lu Jiwan was shocked, Xu Li almost understood a little bit, feeling that he was played by the principal. First, they called him over to chat, gave him a lot of power, and misled Teacher Xu. Later, they had a dispute and offended Huang Yi and Teacher Xu. People. The principal is really a good method. Xu Li cursed inwardly. It seems that the matter has come to this point, and he has nothing to back down. Since Teacher Xu insists on treating him as an enemy, then he will not be afraid. But the principal can't trust too much. Xu Li has learned the principal's tricks, and he doesn't know when the principal will come up with another plan behind his back. At that time, it is estimated that Xu Li will be sold and the truth will not be known yet. Thinking of this, Xu Li felt a chill. Sure enough, Jiang is still old and hot, and they still know how to play. Oh my god, it's actually like this. Although you didn't mean it, the matter has come to this point now, and there is no room for regret. In this way, I will help you first and then inquire about the news to see if there is a solution. Xu Li nodded. Okay, I'll leave this matter to you. After hanging up the phone, Xu Li also went to the internet to check those black posts. From the beginning, they were just some speculations, to some articles taken out of context and videos shot at tricky angles. These are all insults to him. Not only that, but there are also many mentors who left the stage at the same time as if they had made an appointment, and posted a post to express their dissatisfaction with Xu Li. Such a student will seriously interfere with the normal teaching atmosphere in the school. I suggest that the instructor of the law enforcement team quickly take this student to the law enforcement team to discipline him, and let him continue his normal school life until the education is successful. At the official number of the law enforcement team. That's right, let the law enforcement team directly arrest people. Sooner or later, this kind of disaster will ruin the reputation of our Shidu Academy. I think it is necessary for L to use strong means to kill this possibility as soon as possible. In the cradle. I agree. This classmate Xu Li killed his classmates in the school. He is extremely cruel. He is a killing machine. He should be expelled from the campus as soon as possible. We do not need such students in Wangdu College. Below the posts of these tutors are the comments of the students under these tutors, all of which support the tutor's statement and ask the law enforcement team to take Xu Li away for interrogation. There are also some senior students who don't know why they are being rhythmically scolded Xu Li below, wanting him to be severely punished. And there are very few people who speak a fair word for him, and some of them are the freshmen who account for the least proportion of teachers and students in the whole school. Seeing this, Xu Li silently turned off the campus network with an ugly face. Xu Li couldn't understand, where did he offend these mentors, and let them be so hostile, and directly make such an evaluation of a freshman whom he had never met. Just relying on those online texts taken out of context and maliciously edited videos. Xu Li doesn't believe that the tutors of Imperial Capital Academy are such foolish existences, so don't they all come prepared and deliberately want to ruin themselves? And the mastermind behind all this. Xu Li knows without thinking that it must be Teacher Xu. This Xu Ling is really vicious, to think of such a way to target me. Xu Li's face turned cold, and at the same time he also felt a deep crisis. It seems that it will be a matter of time before the law enforcement team takes action. Not to mention that I am not actually on the principal's side. Even if I am on the principal's side, in the face of such a big fishing boat turmoil, it is impossible for the principal to cover up the sky with one hand. If you come up with a reply that can appease the anger of the public, save me. A sharp light flashed in Xu Li's eyes, which made the immature eyes of a teenager change into the eyes of a mature man in an instant. It seems that I have to wake up Medusa as soon as possible. Shu Li opened the window that I accidentally exited just now, and it is now showing the time it takes for Medusa to consume the blood-eating flowers of the main promotion years. Half a month. Shu Li looked at the time given by the system and was a little dissatisfied, which meant that he still had to wait for 7 days. And Shu Li can't wait for a moment now. Maybe the law enforcement team will break in at any time and take him away. At that time, Shu Li, who couldn't summon Medusa, was not equivalent to a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, facing the fate of being slaughtered all the time. Is there a way to speed it up? Shu Li searched eagerly on the internet. Even if it could be a day earlier, every day earlier, Shu Li would have a little more means to save his life. Unexpectedly, after only a few days at school, he would have to worry about his life safety. If it takes longer, he doesn't know what will happen. There are a lot of news on the internet. Shu Li found the one with the most likes, and looked at it. A method to speed up the digestion of blood-eating flowers. Use the blood-melting grass, crush the blood-melting grass, and spread it on the totem, and the beast can speed up the process of digesting the blood-eating flowers. Generally, it can be shortened by 2 to 3 days. Note: the better the quality of the melting blood grass, the longer it will take to shrink. Up to 10 days. 10 days. Then if Shu Li bought a good quality melting blood grass, wouldn't she be able to awaken Medusa immediately? Shu Li's eyes lit up. But where can I buy blood melting grass? And Shu Li doesn't have much money with him now, and he doesn't know how much it will cost to buy blood melting grass. In the end, Shu Li chose to call Lu Jiwan. According to the conversations of the students in the group, it seems that Lu Jiwan is quite rich, and the relationship between the two of them is considered good, and they should be able to borrow a little. Having made up his mind, Shu Li called Lu Jiwan. Brother Shu, you came here to ask me about the solution, right? Don't worry, I'm asking my dad to check it out, and I'll have a solution soon. Lu Jiwan naturally thought that Shu Li called because of this matter. After all, no one can sit peacefully at home after reading the posts on the internet. And Shu Li really couldn't settle down anymore, and even wanted to go out. It's not about this, I want to borrow some money from you. Lu Jiwan said in surprise. Brother Shu, do you want to run away? Although running away is also a solution, it is not the best solution. In this way, you stay for another 2 days. If there is no news, you don't need to tell Brother Shu. I will prepare money for you and arrange for you to escape. Shu Li was laughed at by Lu Jiwan's brain hole. Why are you running away? I just came to ask you to borrow some money. Am I a newcomer? I don't have much money on me, so I want to borrow some from you, and then go shopping. Oh, I want to buy something. How much do you want to borrow? Knowing that he had misunderstood, Lu Jiwan calmed down a lot. I don't know the exact amount, but that melting blood grass, how much does it sell in the imperial capital? Shu Li has no idea of the prices in the capital, so he doesn't know how much a melting blood grass is worth in the capital. The blood melting grass is not expensive, only more than 1,000 bio. I can transfer it to you right away, but Brother Shu, what do you want the blood melting grass for? The blood melting grass has many uses. In addition to the rare function of speeding up the digestion of blood-eating flowers by the beast, it can also help the wounds of the wounded heal and the beast's recovery. There are some wealthy families, like Lu Jiwan, who often raise some flying beasts as a means of transportation. When the flying beasts are injured, they will apply blood-melting grass to them, which is very beneficial to the beasts. Big benefit. Shu Li didn't hide it from Lu Jiwan, and said bluntly, when I was in Beimuluo Forest, my Medusa accidentally ate a blood-eating flower, and it hasn't been digested yet, so I need to buy a blood-melting grass. Blood eats flowers. Maybe Shu Li doesn't know the preciousness of the blood-eating flower, but Lu Jiwan knows it very well. The last time his family bought an 800-year-old blood-eating flower at an auction, it was almost destroyed. That night, almost all the powerful members of the Lu family were mobilized, just to protect the blood-eating flower from reaching the Lu family safely and feed it to the SS-level alien beast at home. Finally, after sacrificing 2 A-level awakeners, 17 B-level awakeners, and countless low-level awakeners, the blood food flower was safely sent back. And this blood-eating flower fully doubled the attack power of that SS-level beast. It's a pity that there is no specific skill for awakened beasts, otherwise, their loyal SS-level beasts will definitely be comparable to $S-level beasts. It was at that time that Lu Jiwan deeply understood how powerful a blood-eating flower is, and why so many people scramble for it. Now Shu Li actually said that strange beast swallowed a blood-eating flower. What kind of luck is it that he can encounter such a precious item as the blood-eating flower in Beimuluo forest? Lu Jiwan became excited in an instant. How old is the blood-eating flower? How many days has Medusa been digested? Shu Li didn't understand why Lu Jiwan was so excited. He was stunned for a moment, and said, Medusa has digested the 3,000 years for 8 days. 3,000 years. Lu Jiwan's scream came from the phone, and Shu Li was so frightened that he immediately took the phone away. If it was a second slower, Shu Li felt that his eardrums might be shattered. Isn't it just a blood-eating flower? Why are you so excited? Why haven't you seen a rich man like you? Faced with Shu Li's doubts, Lu Jiwan suddenly wanted to be a child of a less rich family. If he was a child of a rich family, he would be able to meet a 3,000 plant just like Shu Li. Years of blood-eating flowers. Regarding this, Lu Jiwan wanted to cry, but he said dryly to Shu Li, who was in the midst of blessings and didn't know how to be blessed, I have seen it, but I have never seen it with such a long age. Brother Shu, you have found a treasure. Shu Li now only thinks that Lu Jiwan is a bit exaggerated. Although he knows that the blood-eating flower is very precious, he doesn't have any intuitive feelings, so there is still a little deviation from Lu Tongwei's understanding of the blood-eating flower. How about this, Brother Shu, I will take you to the exchange to buy together, and then I will buy one for you, as a thank you for helping me out last time. Lu Jiwan felt that such a high-quality blood-eating flower should not allow a layman like Shu Li to buy the blood-melting grass, then it is not a good thing for the alien beast. In this regard, Lu Jiwan felt that it was necessary for him to follow Shu Li for a trip. Seeing Lu Jiwan's enthusiasm, Shu Li did not refuse, okay, just tonight, but where is the exchange you mentioned? Brother Shu doesn't know where the exchange is. Shu Li's words once again refreshed Lu Jiwan's three views. Don't we need to buy a lot of things when we freshmen move in? The school's distribution is not enough. We all buy there. Is it possible that Shu brothers still don't have any been there? Facing Lu Jiwan's question, Shu Li frowned, I haven't been there. The dormitory that Mr. Zeng took me to when I entered the school is a villa. The furniture and everything inside are the most advanced. It seems that there is no need to change it. There are also people in the family who buy and cook vegetables regularly, so I don't need to worry about these things, so I don't know much about it. Lu Jiwan. Yes, emotional Shu Li is the real son of a wealthy family. He has seen 3,000 years of blood-eating flowers and lives in a luxurious villa. Compared with this, Lu Jiwan feels that he is a student from a small city. Shui Shihua's jaw dropped from shock. He lives in an ordinary student apartment, and needs to do everything by himself for basic necessities of life. Lu Jiwan was quite depressed about this. Okay, Brother Shu, I probably understand. How about this, you tell me your dormitory number, I will pick you up at night and take you to the exchange. Shu Li also knew that his understanding of Wangdu College seemed to be far from enough, and there were many places that needed Lu Jiwan's help, so Shu Li quickly told Lu Jiwan his dormitory number, waiting for him to come over at night. The 7th to 9th floors of the Imperial College building are the exchange. The 7th floor is also the exchange of the simplest common items, and the 8th and 9th floors are for the things that the awakened need. It's just that the 8th floor is free trade, not only vendors outside the school, but also student unions set up stalls inside to trade. The 9th floor is some high-end trade opened by schools and relatively high-end merchants. Of course, the prices of the items inside are also very expensive. It is said that the 10 cheapest items cost 10,000 bio. This is simply sky-high price for an ordinary student. So the most popular is the 8th floor, the free trade place, which is also the largest floor. In the evening, Lu Jiwan came to Shu Li's villa as scheduled. When he saw the B-level worker ants next to the villa, Lu Jiwan looked at his D-level flying beast, and suddenly felt a little at a loss for what to say. Let's go. Shu Li came out of the villa and prepared to use Lu Jiwan's flying beast. He still remembered that on the first day when he came here, his instructor Zhang Chao said that it would be better to use the flying beast on campus, so he subconsciously getting ready to take Lu Jiwan's flying beast. And Lu Jiwan looked at Shu Li with a strange expression, and said, Brother Shu, what kind of beast are you? Shu Li glanced at the direction Lu Jiwan was pointing at, and said, This is also a strange beast that I accidentally picked up on the side of the road. Seeing that he is so cute, I don't need to tame it, so I took it back and used it as a means of transportation. It seems a little inconvenient now, and it is rarely used. It is better to change to a flying beast in the future. No, inconvenient. How about replacing it with a flying beast? Lu Jiwan felt a little dizzy. The blow he received today was too great, and he needed his whole life to heal the injury he received today. A B-level worker and outside can be sold for hundreds of thousands or millions of bios. On the flying beast, Lu Jiwan glanced at Shu Li, who was standing beside him, and said in a low voice, "Brother Shu, are you a child of the hidden family? This time, you are here to experience life at our Imperial Capital Academy." Shu Li was taken aback. "What are you talking about? I'm an orphan in a small city. My parents died early, so I don't have any strange background." Unwilling to give up, Lu Jiwan asked, "Brother Shu, what is the name of the city where your home is located?" Shu Li laughed. "Zhongcheng." Shu Li followed Lu Jiwan to the 8th floor of the Wangdu building. When he was about to enter, the waiter gave Shu Li and Lu Jiwan a mask. Mask. Shu Li looked at the simple white mask in his hand, on which only the eyes and nose were left out, and was a little puzzled. "Isn't it just to buy something? And you need to wear a mask? Why do you want to be so mysterious?" But Lu Jiwan had already brought it up cooperatively. Seeing that Shu Li was still standing there with a mask, he explained, "This is to prevent students from being targeted for buying good things inside." Still quite effective. After hearing Lu Jiwan's reminder, Shu Li didn't hesitate, put on the mask directly, and followed Lu Jiwan into the 8th floor of the Free Trade Office. Royal Capital Academy deserves to be called Royal Capital Academy, and almost all the goods sold in the 8th floor trade office are related to the awakened ones. Shu Li opened Target Analysis, glanced at it, and the quality of everything was revealed in front of his eyes. These things include high-level and low-level things, many of which Shu Li has never seen before. There are not only people who come here to buy things. Shu Li found that there are also vendors who set up stalls on the ground, and some of them are wearing masks. They seem to be students of the school. The atmosphere of the free trade place is relatively free and relaxed. Many students don't wear school uniforms, but come here in casual clothes. It's like going to the supermarket after dinner. Same. What you want to buy is blood-melting grass. It's hard to distinguish blood-melting grass. If you buy it at the stall here, you may get fake ones. I'll take you to the herbal store to buy it. The quality there is guaranteed. If you're lucky, if so, we can directly help you buy high-quality products." Lu Jiwan took Shu Li directly past the vendors on both sides, and came to a very high-end herbal medicine shop with the words, "Yunlai Herbal Medicine," hanging on the door. This herbal medicine shop is different from the shops on both sides. As far as the naked eye can see, the interior decoration is several levels better than theirs. "Come in please, do you need any help?" ##. The shopping guide lady saw that the guests finally came, and walked over quickly, but after seeing that Shu Li and Lu Jiwan were wearing school uniforms, the enthusiasm on their faces faded a lot. The students didn't have much money, and this was especially true for the freshmen. The shopping guide was the most sharp-eyed, and it was obvious at a glance that the two were wearing the new school uniforms made by the school this year, and they were obviously freshmen. But out of professionalism, the shopping guide is still very polite. "We want a melting blood grass, preferably with a higher quality." Lu Jiwan explained his purpose. "Yes, but the blood-melting grass is more precious, so I'll take the two of you there right now." When he heard that he was going to buy blood-melting grass, a gleam of joy flashed across the face of the shopping guide. The children of ordinary people don't even know about blood-melting grass, can't use it, and can't afford it. If they can open their mouths and ask for blood-melting grass, it shows that the student's family is good. Seeing the opportunity to make a list, the shopping guide quickly led the two into a small room. In the middle of the room was a round table with some refreshments on it. "You two, sit here for a while, and I'll go get the blood-melting grass." The shopping guide closed the door and walked out briskly. In the small room, Shu Li looked at the environment in the room. This room is inside the pharmacy, and there is an inconspicuous small door, which seems to be used for entertaining distinguished guests. Soon, the shopping guide came back, followed by 5 people in uniform, each holding a plate with a small wooden box inside. It's just that through this small wooden box, Shuli could feel the aura full of aura inside. These are all the blood-melting grasses in our store. This one is 10 years old. This one is. The shopping guide introduces Shuli and Lu Jiwan the blood-melting grass brought over one by one. Lu Jiwan didn't have the patience to listen to the tedious introduction of the shopping guide, so he asked directly, how much is the best quality? Seeing Lu Jiwan's rich and powerful appearance, the shopping guide's eyes lit up. Among the awakened ones, all kinds of herbal medicines are not cheap, so every student who comes to buy herbal medicines will compare them several times, and then choose the most cost-effective herbal medicine to buy. And this kind of comparison is incomparable. Directly looking for customers with the highest quality is undoubtedly the favorite of shopping guides. So the shopping guide said with a smile, the highest quality is this one, which is 10,000 years old. You only need to pay 100,000 bios to smoke it and take it home. Rao is the son of a rich family like Lu Jiwan. He hesitated when he heard 100,000 bio. This is his pocket money for nearly half a year, but when Lu Jiwan came, he promised Shuli to buy a plant give him a good quality blood-melting grass. How can there be any reason to regret it now? Okay, let's take him. Lu Jiwan gritted his teeth and wanted to take down the melting blood grass, but was stopped by Shuli at the side. It doesn't need to be of such a high quality, the 10-year quality is enough. It's not that Shuli wants to save money for Lu Jiwan, but when he used target analysis just now, the system prompted that the lowest level 10-year blood-melting grass has evolved through evolution space, and it only takes 10 days to be able to evolve into 10-year quality Rongsao. Since there is such a good thing, Shuli doesn't want Lu Jiwan to spend more money. At the same time, it also provides Shuli with a way to make money. He can buy these precious medicinal materials at a low price, and then evolve them sell at a higher price later. VT-X. After hearing Shuli's words, the shopping guide's originally joyful expression froze in an instant, and he looked at Lu Jiwan with some hesitation. After working in the store for so many years, how could the shopping guide fail to see that Lu Jiwan was the last one to pay, so all decisions depend on Lu Jiwan. But Lu Jiwan waved his hand. Brother Shu, last time you saved me, I, Lu Jiwan, can still get the money. You don't have to think about me, just take the most expensive plant. This dumbass, Shuli cursed inwardly, and said, I only need 10-year quality plants, but I want to buy 2. Shuli has already made a plan so good that one plant will be cultivated and used by Medusa, and the other will be cultivated and sold to see how much it can sell. Lu Jiwan frowned slightly when he heard the words, Brother Shu, the blood-melting grass can't make up for the difference in quality through quantity, and it's not like 2 low-grade plants can match high-quality ones. I think we should buy, Lucky. It will take 10 years, 2 plants, and I have my own plans for the future. Seeing that Shuli had made up his mind, Lu Jiwan had no choice but to say, let's get 2 10-year quality plants. A trace of imperceptible disappointment flashed across the shopping guide's face, and he secretly gave Shuli a vicious look. If Shuli hadn't made trouble, she would have completed a big order today with a lot of commissions. Of course, the shopping guide didn't act too superstar, just smiled and left. But Shuli, relying on her super perception, discovered the expression of the shopping guide. Shuli shook his head and didn't take this matter to heart. The shopping guide quickly wrapped up 2 plants of melting blood grass and sent them to Lu Jiwan, and Lu Jiwan also paid the bill very readily. Compared to the millennium quality blood melting grass, these 2 10-year quality blood melting grasses can be said to be very cheap. The combined price of the 2 plants is only 1,500 bio, which to Lu Jiwan is nothing more than a small amount of money. After picking up 2 boxes, Shuli realized that he didn't have much space to put these things in. He heard from Zhang Chao that their college seemed to sell a kind of space worm that could obtain portable space. So Shuli asked Lu Jiwan, where are space worms sold? Lu Jiwan glanced at Shuli, who was holding the wooden box in both hands, with a dazed expression. I forgot you don't have a portable space yet, right? But I don't recommend you to buy a space worm for the time being. Why? Shuli thinks that this kind of portable space is still needed, and he only needs to buy a lowest level space worm, although he can't seem to afford it. Lu Jiwan explained. Space worms are a special product of the Imperial Capital Academy. Currently, they are only sold to a certain number of people, and the price is very high. A space worm with a space of 1 cubic meter needs 8 million bio, to be honest. Brother Shu, even I can't afford a space worm right now. The price-performance ratio of these space worms is not high, so I recommend buying an advanced space worm after we make money in the future. The space bags we buy now are completely sufficient, and there are many good space travel bags on the market. Shang. Is 8 million a lot? After I buy more low-level medicinal materials, evolve them, and then sell them, there will be 8 million soon, right? Shu Li calculated it in his heart, but he didn't say it out. He wouldn't be so stupid as to reveal his whole cards just because Lu Jiwan had a good relationship with him. Okay, then let's go check out the space bag. Many students in the imperial capital will choose to buy from some street vendors when buying space travel, because it will be much more expensive to buy in regular stores, and many of the ones on the street stalls are picked up by them on the way to do tasks outside. Most of them will get rid of it as soon as possible at a price that is well below market value. The two came to the place where the street vendors gathered, and the surroundings began to become lively, not as deserted as the high-end stores just now. Come and take a look. You can take the top quality fire spirit grass for only 100 bio. Student, take a look at this AGBG, low-level pet beast, you can take it away with only 150 bios. Pet beast. In the midst of the cries, Shu Li heard a cries that was different from other cries. Unexpectedly there are also strange beasts selling in the school. And this was also the first time Shu Li saw a strange beast seller, so he couldn't help but be curious, and walked over following the sound. There were many girls standing in front of the stall selling exotic animals, but none of the boys stopped there. Brother Shu is also interested in these gadgets. Lu Jiwan was a little surprised when he saw Shu Li come to the stall selling exotic pets. Seeing that the kind of large B-grade worker ants that Shu Li was raising around him, it was hard to imagine that he would be interested in these gadgets. At this moment, Shu Li also saw clearly that the so-called pet beasts sold inside were all very small but extremely beautiful beasts. Most of them are small colorful butterflies, bees, or shrunken squirrels and so on. When the mutation came, most of the animals mutated in the direction of ferocity, and some mutated in the direction of degeneration. But mutation is mutation after all, and the lifespan of these strange beasts is longer than that of ordinary animals, and they are also more spiritual. Someone discovered the business opportunity, so they captured these small, less aggressive animals and sold them, and pet animals came from this. Most of the people who buy these are girls, so there are so many girls around here. Shu Li scratched his hair in embarrassment. It's not really interested. Let's go buy space bags. Which one did you recommend just now? Target analysis succeeded. Name: Giant Rhinoceros. Level: S1 level. System prompt: the rhinoceros horn was unfortunately cut off during the mutation process of this giant rhinoceros, which led to reverse evolution. The evolution space can help it evolve forward successfully and restore its strength to level 5. The giant rhinoceros is one of the alien beasts. A unique high-level beast that combines attack and defense. It is recommended that the host buy it. An S-class spirit horned giant rhinoceros. Shu Li, who was about to leave, stopped and returned to the group of girls. His eyes fell on the cage in the farthest corner. A palm-sized rhino was standing inside the simple black cage. The whole body of this rhinoceros is black, and only half of the rhino horns have a faint red brilliance that appears and disappears from time to time. Of course, this red brilliance was sensed by Shu Li with super 150 points of mental power. Shu Li believes that even Lu Jiwan who was present did not realize this. Is it really an S-level alien beast? It's a pity that because the horn was cut off, it was buried here, and it was actually regarded as a low-level pet alien beast to be scrutinized and selected. Shu Li inexplicably felt a faint sadness emanating from the giant rhinoceros. The street vendor saw Shu Li who had been staring at the pet rhinoceros. How could he not see the strong desire to buy in Shu Li's eyes after he had been in the mall for many years? So the vendor hurriedly introduced, "This classmate has taken a fancy to this pet rhinoceros. Do you want to buy one for your girlfriend, or do you want to buy it for yourself?" Most of the people who come here to buy pet rhinos are girls. Even if boys come here, they buy them as gifts for their girlfriends. There are very few boys who buy them for themselves, almost none. But Shu Li really bought it for himself, so he said, "How much is it for myself?" As soon as this remark came out, Many girls around looked at Shu Li in surprise, and even Lu Jiwan, who was standing beside Shu Li, was affected. How lucky Lu Jiwan was that he came in wearing a mask at this moment, otherwise he would be ashamed today. Seeing that Shu Li is so different, the peddler was surprised for a second. Then he said, "To tell you the truth, the students who come to my place to buy pet animals like good-looking ones. This pet rhinoceros is not only not good-looking, but also has a broken horn. It has been placed here for several days and has not been sold. But it is not easy for me to catch it. If you sell it cheaply, you will definitely lose money, so no more, no less, I will charge you 70 bio." Shu Li had never bought a pet beast before, and he didn't know what the pet beast was worth in the market, but seeing what he said so sincerely, Shu Li didn't think much about it. Moreover, 70 bios are not too expensive for Shu Li. If you can buy a level 5 alien beast for 70 bios, that is simply a bargain. I want it. After winning the Great Rhinoceros, Shu Li's mood improved a lot, and regardless of other people's gazes, he took his S-level beast to buy space travel. On the recommendation of Lu Jiwan, Shu Li bought a 90% new space bag, which looks like a very old ring, which can be enlarged and reduced according to the size of the wearer's finger, and fits perfectly on the skin. There is a full 10 cubic meters of space inside, which is enough to go out usually. Watching Shu Li buy the ring, Lu Jiwan said worriedly, "Brother Shu, I still think you should buy a backpack or a fanny pack. Although the space bag can hold a lot of things, the weight will not be reduced. Using a ring, if so, the fingers may not be able to bear the weight." Shu Li didn't think there was anything wrong. His current physical fitness had reached 67, and the school's measurement had reached 76. Not only that, Shu Li also has the addition of trunk bones, so his current body strength is far beyond ordinary people. Weight distribution. Therefore, the pressure on the fingers is not very heavy. Shu Li considered the convenience and felt that the ring should be more portable, so he chose the ring. Shu Li thanked Lu Jiwan for his kind reminder, but did not accept it. After buying these things, Shu Li returned to his villa in Lu Jiwan's flying beast. Before leaving, Lu Jiwan said to Shu Li, "Brother Shu, we will hit the list in a few days. Although our strength is not as strong as yours, we will do our best to help you share a little pressure. Or gain some experience." Although they have hastily decided to let Shu Li hit the list in the freshman group, Lu Jiwan and the others will not just sit and watch. Now all the freshmen will unite and help Shu Li do something as much as possible. Seeing this, Shu Li smiled slightly. "Let's work together to build our community before the freshman challenge." After the two made an agreement, Shu Li returned to the villa, opened 2 boxes of blood-melting grass, and threw them directly into the evolution space. At this time tomorrow, Medusa will be able to successfully wake up. Thinking of seeing Medusa again, Shu Li was actually a little excited. With Medusa's blessing, at least he won't worry about the tough tactics used by the mentors of the law enforcement team. No matter what, Medusa is the top existence among SS-level beasts, and their beasts can't hurt it. Just in case, Shu Li also drank a few bottles of the blood of the alien beast, successfully raising his mental power to 153 points and his physical fitness to 4 points. It seems that these low-level alien blood will be useless in the future. Shu Li looked at the table full of potions, and was a little disappointed. He drank several bottles, but his mental strength only increased by a few points, almost to the point of a bottle. The same is true for physical fitness. It can be seen that the enhancement effect of these blood becomes weaker as you go further. Instead of such a little increase, it is better to directly use high-level alien blood to improve at once. It seems that the blood can also be cleaned up. I don't know if the blood can be sold in free trade. Shu Li didn't think too much, and took out one of today's highlights, the superstar of the spirit horn. The current giant rhinoceros is only the size of a palm, but Shu Li knows that the grown-up giant rhinoceros is one of the largest species among strange beasts. But you can be so docile when you are so young now. If you grow up, will you still be so docile to me after recovering the wild beast? Shu Li looked at the horned giant rhinoceros on the table and had doubts. System prompt. Alien beasts that have entered the evolution space and cultivated will automatically recognize the host as the master. The system's answer made Shu Li's big stone fall to the ground. It seems that he doesn't have to worry about the rebellion of the spirit horn superstar. In that case, you should go into the space too. Shu Li sent the dazed-looking giant rhinoceros into the space. Just wait for one day, and he will be able to release Medusa. Thinking of this, Shu Li simply washed up and went to the bedroom to sleep. At the same time, the campus network also began to discuss the recent impact of the list. I heard that Lu Qingyan has returned from Xingchen Wuda University. If he goes here, his strength should have improved a lot. Can he hit the top 5 on the list? It's not just Lu Qingyan. Chen Ning, Ji Yuzhabin and the others have also come back one after another. Our school is finally going to be lively. I'm going to see if these freshmen can still play the game. Any one of them can knock down all the freshmen. What's the name of the freshman who dances more? Shu Li. When the time comes, be the first to take Shu Li under the knife, let them see the strength of our old students. Wangdu College has been established for many years, and the student resources are getting better and better every year, and it has also accumulated a lot of accumulation and heritage. Therefore, there are naturally many excellent students. Every year, some students go to other schools for exchange studies to broaden their horizons and improve their quality in all aspects. The students who were sent out were naturally the top figures among the old students. Before these people were not there, Shu Li showed his tough strength again, and the old students naturally did not speak hard. It's different now, they will soon be able to let these new students see how powerful they are. However, Shu Li knew nothing about all this. In a blink of an eye, one day had passed, and Shu Li excitedly took out the blood-melting grass in the evolution space. As soon as the blood-melting grass appeared, the whole villa lingered with a faint smell of grass and trees, which was very soothing. Target analysis succeeded. Name: Melting Blood Grass. Year: 1000 years. System prompt: the Millennium Melting Blood Grass can greatly reduce the time it takes for exotic animals to digest blood and eat flowers. Sure enough, it is the quality of the Millennium. Shu Li carefully put away the other blood-melting grass, put it in a box and put it in the ring. The next step is to grind the blood-melting grass and smear it on the totem. Although the Millennium Melting Blood Grass is very old, it is also more fragile. Shu Li easily ground it successfully, put it in a small bowl, and is ready to smear it. Taking a few deep breaths, Shu Li slowly spread the blood-melting grass on the totem. Suddenly, the totem emitted a faint golden light, and Shu Li also felt a burst of tingling, just like Medusa protesting strongly after being forcibly awakened. Bah! A familiar cry sounded. Shu Li looked up, and a scarlet python appeared in front of his eyes. Medusa was originally very handsome, but after this evolution, she is even more beautiful. The snake skin on the snake exudes a little bit of luster, and the surrounding area reveals an aura from fighting on the battlefield of thousands of people. What lingers around Medusa is a faint smell of blood. Shu Li looked at the Medusa that hadn't grown much, but seemed to have changed her face, and clicked on its information. Name: Queen Medusa. Level: SSS 3 level. Status: Childhood. Skill: Wrath of Medusa. Wrath of Medusa. When Medusa is attacked, there is a certain chance to roar and launch a mental attack at the same time. System prompt: the mental power of Medusa at SSS 3 level is equivalent to 170 points of spiritual power of an awakened person. 170 points. 407, more than me. Shu Li didn't think that Medusa, a spiritual beast, was not just talking about it, it really had an advantage in spiritual power. It's just that it's only now showing up. The blood-eating flower is indeed a blood-eating flower, but one plant can add a skill to Medusa. If I swallow a few more plants in the future, won't Medusa become stronger and stronger? Shu Li summoned Medusa to her side, and observed the snakeskin on Medusa's body. I don't know how hard it is. Shu Li took out a leg of the 8-spear golden spider king from the space, and approached Medusa. Medusa felt the danger approaching, her scarlet eyes stared straight at Shu Li. Hiss! Shu Li only felt a pain in his head, and his mental power subconsciously emerged to protect him. Obviously, he was under a mental attack just now. It seems that Medusa has not only increased her mental power, but also her wisdom. Shu Li didn't show any murderous intent at all in the action just now. Unexpectedly, even so, Medusa noticed something wrong with Shu Li. Fortunately, Shu Li is the master of Medusa, so even if Medusa felt that Shu Li had a tendency to hurt herself, she only frightened Shu Li with her mental power for a short time, and did not really hurt Shu Li. Seeing Medusa with her head held high, Shu Li sighed, forget it, don't try it if you don't try it, although I think the legs of the S-rank 8-spear golden spider king shouldn't be able to hurt you. Shu Li just wanted to test whether Medusa's snake skin had become harder. Since Medusa was unwilling, Shu Li would not force it. Just when Shu Li was about to take back the legs of the 8-spear golden spider king, Medusa slowly swam over, took away the 8-spear golden spider king's legs with a flexible tail, and slammed heavily on her own snakeskin. Buckle up. With a "see," before Shu Li could react, Medusa let out a low growl, and at the same time, the legs of the 8-spear golden spider king were broken. With two bangs, the 8-spear golden spider king's legs broke into two and fell to the ground, while Medusa's snakeskin left only a trace of friction, not even a small wound. It can be seen how strong Medusa's snakeskin has been. Medusa's snakeskin was also very hard before, but no matter how hard it is, it can't withstand the full blow of the 8-spear golden spider king, and it will be injured a little bit, but at this moment, Medusa is intact. Is this the power of the blood-eating flower? Shu Li gasped. Even though he was mentally prepared, he never thought that a blood-eating flower that he met in Beimuluo Forest could give him and Medusa such a big boost. With such a powerful Medusa, Shu Li felt that the calculation was from the law enforcement team, and he would never want to forcefully take him away. At the same time, the law enforcement team was in chaos. What does the principal mean by arranging Yang Yuking? He also took the position of vice captain directly. Does this mean that he wants to decentralize power from us? Isn't this obvious? The old fox has been standing still all these years and showing weakness everywhere, isn't it just for the position of deputy captain of the law enforcement team? He just wants to arrange his own people in. Then what should we do? Yang Yuking can come in, but she can't be given the position of vice captain. Which one of us here is not older than Yang Yuking? How can there be any reason for this girl to snatch her away? In the meeting hall of the law enforcement team, several veterans of the law enforcement team were very dissatisfied after learning of the principal's decision and stood up to protest together. Only Shu Ling, the captain of the law enforcement team, sat on the main seat without saying a word, as if he was thinking about something. Captain, if you say a word, as long as you say a word, we will go to the principal together and ask him what he means. That's right, Captain Shu. We've lived in peace all these years. If he insists on interfering, then we can't sit still and wait for death. Facing the angry elders, Shu Ling said in a deep voice, what do you look like in a panic? They are all big, and they are also veterans of the school. Why did you arrange a little girl to come in and you were in such a mess? Look. Also, do you think that you fox really has no confidence in doing this? The elders were all stunned, and the scene fell into silence. It took a long time for the elders to react. Captain, do you mean that the headmaster came prepared this time? Shu Ling glanced coldly at the elders in the conference room, and then said, this time, Yu Hu has lost all his money this time. Do you know the origin of this Yang Yuking? As soon as this remark came out, the elders at the scene were silent. They only knew that Yang Yuking was a very talented student, and she stayed in school smoothly. Could it be that she has other identities? Could it be that Yang Yuking's identity is not simple? An elder started to inquire about Yang Yuking's information, but unexpectedly discovered that Yang Yuking's information was blocked by the principal. What's going on? Information management is also one of the duties of our law enforcement team. How could the principal block this information without authorization? The elders were all angry. It turns out that this is not the first time that principal has interfered with their law enforcement team. They have only discovered this problem until now. This was decided by me and the principal. This matter is of great importance. Yang Yuking is not something we can casually pull into the game, nor can you comment on it casually, otherwise you will be careful to get killed. When the time comes, you will be dead. If it affects the school, I will be the first to stand up and have no end with you. The scene was deadly silent, and no one dared to raise any objections to Yang Yuking's appointment, and they all knew that with Yang Yuking's joining, their law enforcement hall might not be able to do whatever they wanted. Dong dong dong. At this moment, the door of the conference hall was knocked. Yan Kanzun from Wangyi came in. Mr. Shu, the president has returned. Wangyi's president, Wen Jiang, occupies the top 5 of the college's major rankings all year round, and is also extremely protective of his weaknesses. He is one of the reserve members of the law enforcement team. In this regard, Shu Ling took care of him many times, or in other words, this Wen Jiang was a talent cultivated by Shu Ling himself. If Wen Jiang hadn't received Shu Ling's support when he entered the school, then he would not have been able to such a powerful person. It is impossible to sit on the position of Huangyi's president. As the president of Huangyi, he naturally has many constraints under Shu Ling's control. For example, some resources need to be allocated to Shu Ling in 3 layers. Seeing Wen Jiang waiting outside, Shu Ling signaled the elders present to leave, and let Wen Jiang and Yan Kanzun come in. Perhaps it was the reason why he came back in a hurry from other places. At this moment, Wen Jiang was full of travel and dust, and he could see the traces of his journey, but there was no dust on his face, his hair was not messed up, and his figure was tall and straight, showing that he was beyond his age. Sense of stability. Under Shu Ling's gesture, Wen Ji and Ping Shan also took their seats. Chengxin must have told you about the school, do you have any ideas? Shu Ling looked at Wen Jiang. Now this Wen Jiang can be said to be better than Blue, and his abilities in all aspects are close to Shu Ling, so although Shu Ling is his elder and mentor, he will not treat him like he used to calling and drinking at will, but will ask for his advice on many things. Wen Jiang slowly looked at Yan Kanzun beside him, and said, Teacher, this time our Wangyi's dignity has been seriously violated. I will naturally not let that kid named Shu Li go, especially if he killed our Wangyi members and seriously injured Kanzun. Hearing this, Yan Kanzun's eyes turned hot. He didn't expect that Wen Jiang not only didn't blame him for his mismanagement of the club when he came back, but he was actually worried about whether he was seriously injured. This made Yan Kanzun, who had been hanging his heart all the time, heaved a sigh of relief. President, we didn't handle this matter well, otherwise we wouldn't have sacrificed a backbone of Huangyi, and this year, our association has not recruited new students and the resources for income are also very bleak. For a society, poor income can be said to be a fatal crisis, but Wen Jiang did not appear to be in a hurry. We don't have to worry about resources. With this incident, their freshmen owe us too much, so when we take down Shu Li and their freshmen have to be selected by us, other associations will dare to come. This is also an opportunity for us. Take Shu Li. Are you going to make a move? Yan Kanzun's eyes lit up. Hearing Wen Jiang's meaning, what does he mean by personally taking down Shu Li? Sure enough, Wen Jiang said indifferently. On the way back, I also read the information on the campus network. Those freshmen seemed to be bragging about something, saying that they wanted to hit the list. As long as they dare to make it, let them experience it. The strength of the old students. Hearing this, Yan Kanzun's breath stopped. In the top 20, even if Shu Li didn't challenge Wen Jiang, he would challenge other old students, and the old students who ranked below Wen Jiang would sell Wen Jiang some face. After all, Wen Jiang is a dignified and respected existence among the old students, they will naturally not reject Wen Jiang. So when Wen Jiang said these words, Yan Kanzun was almost certain that these freshmen, especially the one named Shu Li, were dead. When Yan Kanzun was overjoyed, Shu Ling, who had been silently watching the two of them, said, Don't worry, maybe you don't need to do anything. As he said that, Shu Ling took out an arrest warrant. With the joint signatures of more than 10 mentors, I can now justifiably lead the law enforcement team to arrest Shu Li, and Shu Li has already paid for it without you doing anything. The price. Seeing the arrest warrant, the two of them felt chills in their hearts. As old students, they naturally knew what the arrest warrant was, but they had never seen an arrest warrant appearing in the past few years at school. Shu Ling was so angry that he was about to trigger an arrest warrant. It seems that Shu Ling's dissatisfaction with Shu Li is far beyond their imagination. Then let Teacher Lao go for a trip first. Wen Jiang and Yan Kanzun saluted together, watched Shu Ling count the number of people, and led a group of law enforcement team members to look for Shu Li. On the other side, after releasing Medusa, Shu Li went to the challenge office to hand in his registration form, preparing for the leaderboard challenge. Lu Jiwan was naturally the first to bear the brunt, and introduced to Shu Li their experience of coming out of the cities without impact on the list. Brother Shu, we have also made an impact on the list these days, but most of the freshmen did not make it to the list, and I barely stopped at the end of the top 50. No matter how strong the new students are, how can they compete against the old students who have accumulated for several years if they don't have enough strength? So even Lu Jiwan only entered the top 50 of the list, and he was still at the bottom. As for the other freshmen, there are very few even entering the list. Even if they enter, they still cannot escape being brushed down fate. The freshmen were hit hard and the atmosphere was depressed. Shu Li was gearing up. Where is the challenge field? The challenge field is the place where students who are not on the list challenge the students on the list. Lu Jiwan showed an embarrassed look, and said, Brother Shu, I'm afraid you don't know, even if we want to challenge the students on the list, we must meet certain standards in terms of mental strength and physical fitness. Otherwise, you cannot enter. There are still standards. This is the first time for Shu Li to hear about this matter. He had already tested it before he came to participate in the competition, and his mental strength and physical fitness have improved, but he has never heard that there is a standard for participating in the challenge competition. Seeing Shu Li's appearance of knowing nothing, Lu Jiwan smiled helplessly and explained, That's right, although Brother Shu's ability is very strong, but as far as I know, the challenger's mental power level must be at least 150, and his physical strength must be at least 150. The quality must be above 80 to be able to challenge. This is to prevent some blind and self-confident students from rushing to the challenge stage, because the students will sign life and death certificates before they step on the challenge stage, so this is also to reduce the casualties of students. Lu Jiwan knows that Shu Li is very strong, but Shu Li's mental strength and physical fitness don't seem to be so high. In my opinion, it's better for Brother Shu to be like us. With a step-by-step impact, he will definitely be able to rise to the top 50. However, Shu Li took the latest measured list and said lightly, No, you can challenge directly, I don't have much time. Shu Li felt a sense of crisis during this time. Seeing more and more mentors who are dissatisfied with him, Shu Li is also very worried. Maybe Shu Ling will bring the law enforcement team to arrest him at some point. In order to prevent this from happening, Shu Li decides to quickly break into the top 20 of the list. Because as long as he breaks into the top 20 on the list, even if the law enforcement team wants to arrest him, he still needs the principal's handwritten instructions. And Shu Li is sure that the principal is on his side, even if Shu Ling wants to catch him, there is no way. On the side, Lu Jiwan's heart skipped a beat. Brother Shu, what do you mean by that? Could it be that your mental strength and physical fitness have reached the challenge standard? The last time Lu Jiwan saw Shu Li's test level, it was still a freshman test. Lu Jiwan clearly remembered that Shu Li's mental power was only 120, and his physical fitness was only 76. Although this is far beyond the level of this year's freshman, and it is enough to enter the top 50 list, but it is not qualified for the challenge. And I have never heard of someone who can improve their mental strength and physical fitness to such a high level in just a few days. Seeing that he didn't believe it, Shu Li looked at his test list with Lu Jiwan. It seems that I have reached the standard you said. The test sheet clearly showed Shu Li's test results, mental strength 157, physical fitness 81. Sure enough, this time, his physical fitness was a few points higher than the system measured. Shu Li suspected that the torso bones mobilized the strength of the whole body, which led to such an error, but it happened by mistake that he succeeded in the challenge qualifications. Therefore, Shu Li is very happy. Mental power 157, physical fitness 81. Brother Shu, how did you grow so much in such a short period of time? Lu Jiwan was dumbfounded. He had never seen someone who could improve his mental strength and physical fitness so much in just a few days. It was a fluke to buy a few bottles of potions that increase physical fitness and mental strength. Lu Jiwan was inexplicably jealous. How could he not be as lucky as Shu Li? To be able to get such a heaven-defying potion, it must have used up all the luck in this life, right? And in the back, the freshmen who followed Lu Jiwan to cheer for Shu Li were also exclaimed when they heard Shu Li's mental strength and physical fitness. Oh my God, it's only been a few days, and the gap between Brother Shu and I has reached an insurmountable level. You still want to make up for the gap with Brother Shu? Brother Shu is an evildoer, can you compare with the evildoer? The freshmen joked a few words and laughed loudly. At the same time, there was a commotion outside the challenge field, as if some big shot came in. All go, isn't this from the law enforcement team? What's the situation? Why are there so many people from the law enforcement team? Who is this here to arrest? Who else can we arrest? It must be Shu Li, the freshman who has been particularly noisy recently. Several elders of the law enforcement team have complained about his dissatisfaction on the campus website. I knew that it would be a matter of time before he was caught. Does that mean Shu Li is near us now? Help me find out where he is. He can directly confront the gang law enforcement team in Huangyi. If you have the guts, I want to ask him for an autograph. There were many students discussing at the scene, and some students secretly took photos of the law enforcement team and posted them on the campus network. The campus forum exploded in an instant. Looking at this posture, it can't be that an arrest warrant has been issued. The imperial capital has not issued an arrest warrant for many years. I didn't expect to use it on a freshman. This freshman is really worthy. If I can also let the law enforcement team catch me like this, such a big scene will be worth it in this life. What kind of perverted thinking is upstairs? When I join the law enforcement team, I won't regret it after seeing you. On the periphery of the challenge field, Shu Li's face changed when he saw the news on the internet. Lu Jiwan was also flustered. Brother Shu, they have already dispatched. Let's run quickly. The law enforcement team is not a place for people to stay. I heard that no matter how powerful people are, they have to peel off their skins. The Royal Law Enforcement Team is notoriously strict, and they treat the students mercilessly, not to mention that this time they offended the leader of the law enforcement team, Shu Li, and if they fall into their hands, there will be no good fruit to eat. Shu Li's complexion is not very good looking. At the moment he is very unwilling. Just wait a day or two, give him time to reach the rankings, then he will be able to save himself, but luck is not good. At the scene, someone had already recognized Shu Li and began to gloat over his misfortune. Do you think that Shu Li will be so tough after being arrested? Then there is no need to ask. Where is the law enforcement team? No matter how hard the bones go in, they must be softened. A group of old students were waiting to see Shu Li's jokes, but at this moment, a group of people walked in mightily from outside the crowd. In addition to some members of the law enforcement team, Wen Jiang and Yan Kanzun were standing beside Shu Ling. Everyone understood that Shu Ling came this time because of Shu Li. Although Shu Li didn't know Wen Jiang, he knew Yan Kanzun, so his face changed drastically. Now he couldn't escape, and he couldn't leave, he was caught in a dilemma. I didn't expect to meet by chance. Lu Jiwan cursed in a low voice, and then fell into a panic. No matter how much he tried to save Shu Li, there was nothing he could do now. Could it be that Shu Li is really going to fold here? At this moment, Shu Ling stood with his hands behind his back and looked at Shu Li. Shu Li, as a student of our Imperial Capital Academy, you actually killed your own classmate and openly challenged the authority of the school. I am now arresting you on behalf of the Imperial Capital Academy's law enforcement team. Do you have any objections? Although it was a question, but the two mentors around him stepped forward when Shu Ling's voice just fell, and wanted to force Shu Li to leave here. Shu Li glanced back, and the challenge field was behind him, and he was only one step away from this difficulty. Is it possible that Wang Dehao really wants to do it? Shu Li looked at Shu Ling, then at Yan Kanzun, and clenched his fists. Let's do it, Shu Ling ordered directly, and the two mentors released their mental coercion, wanting to arrest Shu Lijian. At this moment, a beautiful figure fell from the sky and stopped firmly between the two groups of people. The two instructors had a meal. But Shu Li's eyes lit up. Who is it, not Yang Yuking, who suddenly appeared? The two instructors who came forward to arrest Shu Li were in a dilemma. They remembered that Shu Ling said that Yang Yuking had an unusual status and needed to be treated with care. But in this situation, what should they do? So the two of them glanced at Shu Ling, and sure enough, Shu Ling signaled them to back down with his eyes. Seeing that the situation was stable, Yang Yuking nodded to Shu Li, signaled him to rest assured, then walked towards Shu Ling slowly, and asked, Mr. Shu, as the deputy captain of the law enforcement team, why don't I know about the law enforcement team arresting people? Facing Yang Yuking's questioning, Shu Ling clenched his fists hidden in his sleeves, but smiled on his face. Isn't Teacher Yang just taking office? I wanted to give Teacher Yang some time to get familiar with the affairs of the law enforcement team, so I didn't inform Teacher Yang in advance. Instructor Yang is actually the deputy captain of the law enforcement team. Shu Li looked at Yang Yuking in shock, and began to doubt Yang Yuking's identity. It is said that Yang Yuking was left as a mentor because of his strength, which Shu Li can understand, but it seems that there is some trick to be able to sit on the position of the vice captain of the law enforcement team at a young age, and make Shu Ling helpless to her. But no matter what, Shu Li was relieved. With Yang Yuking's help, it seemed that he could finally calm down for a while. What? Mentor Yang turned out to be the deputy captain of the law enforcement team. When did this happen? I'll check it online. I'll go. It's true. It was confirmed yesterday. The principal personally appointed him. Can there still be leave? It's just how do I feel that teacher Yang takes good care of this Shu Li. Whether it's the last time or this time, teacher Yang has come forward to help this Shu Li twice in a row. Could it be that this Shu Li has something to do with teacher Yang? One is a glamorous and noble rookie mentor, and the other is an SSS-level powerhouse who is the most powerful among the new 277 students and can kill old students. All of a sudden, the campus internet was speculating about the relationship between Shu Li and Yang Yuking. However, Yang Yuking automatically filtered out these spam messages, and the conversation with Shu Ling continued. Since this is the case, now I know about this matter, and I have clearly told Captain Shu Ling that I do not agree to arrest Shu Li. Teacher Yang, this is a decision jointly made by our law enforcement team and 10 mentors. We have also requested an arrest warrant. Even you have no right to stop it. Although Shu Ling is worried about Yang Yuking, he will not be completely led by Yang Yuking. In the end, Yang Yuking is just a deputy captain of the law enforcement team with a lower position than him. Is it possible that he can influence the decision of the captain of the law enforcement team? However, Yang Yuking took out a token with the representative building of Wangdu College engraved on it, and the words, Principal's Token, were engraved on it, blinding Shu Ling's eyes. This is the principal's token. Why is the principal's token in your hand? Shu Ling never expected that although Yang Yuking had a relatively strong background, he never considered the fact that he could get the principal token from Yu Fox. The principal took care of the newcomer mentor. He knew that I was not capable enough, and he was afraid that I would cause trouble in the law enforcement team, so he gave me this principal token to register, but the principal token has more than this function. Yang Yuking held up the principal's badge, showed it to everyone, and then put it away. And everyone present also knew what Yang Yuking meant. The principal's token has a veto power. No matter how many mentors join forces to arrest Shu Li, as long as they have this principal's token, their alliance will not count. I have to do it all over again. This is also Shu Ling's biggest headache, but he never thought that the principal token would appear in Yang Yuking's hands. Now that I think about it, Shu Ling has noticed a lot of things that are wrong. Every time Yang Yuking appears as to protect Shu Li, so is it because Yu Fox is concerned about Yang Yuking's identity, so he gave her a lot of power and convenience, or is he actually wanting to borrow Yang Yuking? Save Shu Li. Thinking of this possibility, Shu Ling's face changed slightly, and he secretly said, "This Yu Huhu is really brave. He dared to use Yang Yuking. If the people in the ancient domain knew about it, he didn't know how to make a fuss. But those are things for the future. Now it seems that the principal is determined to keep Shu Li. The most important thing for him now is to attack Shu Li, so as to achieve the effect of standing up. Otherwise, wouldn't it be in vain for the law enforcement team to come here?" Seeing that Shu Ling finally didn't move, Yang Yuking gradually dissipated the worry in her heart, but what she didn't understand was why she was so worried when she saw Shu Li fall into danger. Could it be that the principal's hint to her to protect Shu Li was too obvious, to the point where she took it into her bone marrow? Yang Yuking didn't have time to think about it, when Shu Ling's voice came from over there again. "Since it is the principal's order, I will not arrest Shu Li today, but tomorrow I will go to the principal in person and ask him to withdraw this order." Yang Yuking shrugged, saying that she didn't care. She believed that with Shu Li's level, she could hit the list within a day or two. And the young people around Shu Ling finally moved, and it was Wen Jiang who looked at Shu Li. "Mr. Shu, I think Shu Li is also here to participate in the challenge. Why don't you let me try his skills?" Now it seems that even teacher Shu can't help Huang Yi take revenge in a short time. Although Wen Jiang knows that this matter should not be rushed, he can't bear the shame of his own people being killed. But Shu Ling asked Wen Jiang to preserve his strength first. "You don't want to play yet, let Kanzun go up and try him for you, let you see his skills, so that you can make a judgment." Yan Kanzun's conditions in all aspects are very good, and he is a person worthy of testing the opponent's strength. So Wen Jiang accepted Shu Ling's suggestion and asked Yan Kanzun to provoke Shu Li and let Shu Li take the bait. But Yan Kanzun was a little hesitant, afraid to go forward timidly. With the lessons learned at the registration office, Yan Kanzun clearly knows that he is not Shu Li's opponent, so going up now is asking for trouble. What, you don't want to? Yan Kanzun, who was hesitating, heard Wen Jiang's voice, his scalp was numb, and finally he had no choice but to bite the bullet and walk forward. Shu Li, you are lucky today, but the matter between you and me in the Wangyi Club is not over yet. If you don't give me an explanation today, don't even think about leaving here. Just opposite is the challenge stage, or you can fight with me, or you can apologize to Wang Yao. Seeing this, Yang Yuking didn't stop it, because it was a private fight among the students, and she thought that Yan Kanzun was definitely not Shu Li's opponent. Shu Li looked at Yan Kanzun indifferently. I don't have much time now. Since you want to fight with me, are you in the top 20 on the list? If yes, then I will fight with you. If not, then I will. Time is tight, so we won't delay everyone. When submitting the test form, the staff told Shu Li that although senior students cannot refuse the challenge of freshmen, the premise is that the senior students have plenty of time. But Yan Kanzun didn't have the level of the top 20 on the list, and was about to make a big fire, but a person came up from behind and patted him on the shoulder. Wen Jiang said, as long as you beat him, I will fight with you. Chapter 71. You, who are you? Shu Li looked at Wen Jiang, and at the same time, Wen Jiang's information was fully revealed in front of Shu Li. Target analysis succeeded. Name, Wen Jiang. Level, S5. Mental power, 163. Physical fitness, 91. With Wen Jiang's strength, he should be considered very good among the students, but it's a pity that he met Shu Li. Facing Shu Li's question, Wen Jiang's expression froze a little. He seemed really surprised. After all, Wen Jiang's name is well known among the students. He is not only a rare, strong and handsome student, but also the president of Wangyi. I don't know how many people are proud to be his friend. This was the first time Wen Jiang knew that someone in this school didn't know him. Seeing this, Wen Jiang was stunned for a moment, and then said with a smile, I am Wen Jiang, the president of Wangyi, and I am also the 4th on the list of the control department and the 7th on the Tianzhou list. If you want to hit the list, say maybe you can try it on me. Try Wen Jiang. This is probably the funniest joke of the Royal Capital Academy in the past few years. In this Imperial Capital Academy, who doesn't know how powerful Wen Jiang is? In particular, his comprehensive strength is simply unparalleled. In actual battles, there are very few existences in the entire Imperial Capital Academy who can challenge Wen Jiang. And now Wen Jiang actually offered to say that he can practice with him. How much does this mean to Shu Li? Wen Jiang's personality is too good, right? To be so polite to a freshman who offends him is amazing. If I were this Shu Li, I would drop my body and beg Wen Jiang to forgive me right now. President Wen belongs to Wangyi. Good, if only I can join Wangyi. The students watching made different voices, but without exception, all of them stood by Wen Jiang's side. At the same time, this scene was broadcast on the campus network, and an anchor directly started the campus live broadcast so that everyone could see the situation inside. This Shu Li is too arrogant. Why does he think he can hit the top 20 on the list? This kind of situation is simply too common. You stay at the Imperial Capital Academy for 2 more years, and you will know when you are also a senior. Every year, there will be 1 or 2 self-righteous guys in the academy, thinking how powerful they are. In the end, he was beaten until he couldn't get up. Having said that, have you noticed a problem? Even if Shu Li is too conceited, if Shu Li can really enter the challenge, doesn't it mean that his mental strength has reached 150? And his physical strength has also reached 80? As soon as this remark came out, the audience fell silent. No way, I'm an old student in my junior year. So far, my physical fitness and mental strength haven't reached this level. How can I get rid of it? Actually, it's still possible. I've heard those freshmen preach that Shu Li has 130 points of mental strength and 76 physical fitness points at the beginning of school. So many. This is too heaven-defying. I am a senior, and my mental power has not reached 100 until now. Many people were even more excited after hearing Shu Li's results. They looked into the live broadcast and looked forward to Shu Li's answer. Looking at your ranking, you are indeed qualified and can fight against me. Shu Li looked at Wen Jiang, and at the same time, he was silently making comparisons in his heart. This person's mental strength and physical fitness were much higher than his. But Shu Li has Medusa in his hands. After all, Medusa is also a SSS 3-level alien beast, and Medusa's strength after eating blood-eating flowers has improved a step further, not to mention that Medusa still has a certain amount of power. Mental attack. If you take this into consideration, Shu Li still has confidence in defeating Wen Jiang. On the big screen, many comments began to scroll. Why hasn't this freshman decided yet? I think he is scared. Wen Ji's ranking is so high, I'm afraid he scared the shit out of him. Why? Shu Li thought for a while, and finally raised his head slowly. Okay, then I promise you, as long as you win this person, you can fight with you, right? Wen Jiang nodded as expected. That's right, as long as you can win him, you can fight me. After getting Wen Jiang's affirmative answer, Shu Li felt that this Wen Jiang looked like a respectable person, so he probably wouldn't regret it temporarily, so he patted Yan Kanzun on the shoulder, then let's go. The two came to the front of the challenge stage. After handing in the documents, before going on stage, the referee took out 2 certificates of life and death, on which the content had already been printed. Song only needs 2 signatures. Yan Kanzun looked at the signing place. He was a little afraid to do it, but seeing Shu Li signed it very readily, he could only follow suit. With the previous experience, Yan Kanzun knew that Shu Li's mental power was relatively strong, and he could kill a B-level beast with 1 blow, so Yan Kanzun planned to use physical skills to fight him hand-to-hand this time. Although Shu Li's physical skills don't seem to be bad. At this moment, Yan Kanzun was extremely regretful. Why on earth did he come up to fight Shu Li? Moreover, he signed a life and death certificate. If his life is gone, what's the use of saving face? Start. The second the referee blew the whistle, the whole person exerted his right foot, went out from the challenge platform in an instant, and landed safely. At the same time, Shu Li also released his mental power. The surging mental power converged into 1 point, and shot straight out like a bullet. Puff, followed by Yan Kanzun's roar. Leg, my left leg. All the people watching the battle narrowed their eyes slightly and looked at Yan Kanzun, who was half kneeling on the ground. Many people don't know what happened now. But Wen Jiang saw all this clearly. Immediately he sneered, it's nothing more than a trick. Wen Jiang's spiritual power is higher than Shu Li's, so he can tell that Shu Li used mental power to attack Yan Kanzun just now. On the challenge stage, Shu Li didn't give Yan Kanzun any time to breathe, and then one after another bullets formed by mental power shot out, hitting Yan Kanzun's right leg and left and right arms. Isn't this too insidious? Before Yan Kanzun released the beast, this Shu Li attacked. This is a sneak attack. Soldiers are not tired of cheating. Could it be that on the battlefield you also expect the opponent to attack you after you release the beast? Are you dreaming? I don't think that's the case. Although Shu Li's mental power should be between 140 and 150, he has a very strong ability to control the mental power. He can accurately gather the mental power into 1 point and accurately hit every target he wants to hit. This is a place that many people cannot do, and this point of him is indeed worth learning. Suddenly there was such a large series of serious analysis in the comment area. Many people were stunned for a moment, and were about to ridicule, but saw this person's id. Many people went crazy. Lu Qingyan is also watching the live broadcaster. At the same moment, in a villa in the living area of Wangdu College, 3 people were sitting on the sofa watching the live broadcast. Seeing one of them revealing his identity, the 2 turned their heads in shock. Just look at it, why do you want to reveal your identity? It makes us seem to care about that freshman. When Chen Ning saw Lu Qingyan's unpretentious words, he was still extremely shocked. After all, Lu Qingyan usually behaves like a master, and even when he was with them day and night, he didn't say such a long paragraph. Didn't expect to be so excited while watching the live broadcast now. Ji Yuzhabin was also a little embarrassed holding the phone, a little flustered. It seems that someone has discovered us. Why don't we quit first? How to quit this live broadcast? The current things are too advanced, I don't understand. Facing Ji Yuzhabin, the mobile phone mentally handicapped, Chen Ning's mouth twitched. Don't you think it will be more eye-catching if you quit now? Ji Yuzhabin had a sudden realization expression on his face. That's right. Then don't quit, just watch. Seeing the weird people on the left and right, Chen Ning sighed. I don't know how I became friends with you, I'm really tired. On the side, Lu Qingyan said lightly, don't talk nonsense, watch the live broadcast, don't you want to see the strength of this legendary SSS level freshman? Hearing this, Chen Ning also excitedly said, how could it be possible that you don't want to watch it? I knew about him from Xingshan University, which made me anxious. If it wasn't for him, how could we come back so soon? Don't even talk about it. Look, Yan Kanzun has released a strange one. The appearance of Lu Qingyan only briefly attracted the attention of the students, and everyone's eyes were quickly attracted by the strange beast released by Yan Kanzun. Yan Kanzun is also a good player in actual combat. The second a blue leopard appeared, he rushed out at an extremely fast speed and directly attacked Shu Li. And the whole process only took a few tenths of a second. This thunder leopard really lives up to its reputation. Not only is it fast, but it also has lightning all over its body. If it gets hit, I'm afraid it won't feel good. That's right, that's an A-level beast, try resisting one with your body. By the way, why hasn't Shu Li released the alien beast? Could it be that he was scared stupid? On the challenge stage, Shu Li looked at Li Bao, who was said to be extremely fast by the crowd, but just stood there quietly without any expression, because Li Bao was not very fast in his eyes. Could it be the reason for Medusa's 170 spiritual power? Why do I feel that the spiritual power has increased in an instant? Shu Li used to have 150 points of spiritual power that surpassed ordinary people, but it was not so powerful. There is only one possibility that can explain this situation, that is, the influence of Medusa of the spiritual system on him. The beast and the awakened are one, so the increase in Medusa's strength will also help me. If this guess is correct, then... Shu Li looked at Lei Bao, who was rushing towards him, quickly withdrew his mental power, then his torso bones swayed, his body twisted crazily in a distorted shape. After an exaggerated turnaround, his waist and abdomen drove his arms, and he went all out. It hit the charging leopard. Roar! Lei Bao let out a scream, and was beaten straight out. And Shu Li's skin didn't have any scars, there was a faint snake pattern flashing past. This is... Looking at her body, Shu Li felt the thrill of resonance between the strange beast and the awakened for the first time. System prompt. Congratulations to the host for successfully enabling the affinity function. Affinity refers to the connection between Medusa and the host. As long as the host is more proficient in using Medusa to fight, or feed Medusa, an indefinite amount of affinity can be obtained, and the affinity is it can bring the local power of Medusa to the host during battle. Note: the higher the affinity, the more Medusa's power the host can use in battle. So that's it. Is it affinity? It seems that Medusa's affection for me has increased after eating the blood-eating flower. Shu Li didn't think much, and looked at the man and the leopard on the opposite side again. Although he had a conversation with the system just now, the outside world only passed a few tenths of a second. What did I see just now? Shu Li injured the strange beast with his arm. Where is this wounded? Is it disabled? You can see that the leopard can't even stand up. I think it has broken a few heads. What is Shu Li's physical fitness? Why can't I remember clearly? How can this be a matter of physical fitness? Look at the masters on the list in our school. No matter how high their physical fitness is, they have never seen melee monsters. And the freshmen who are paying close attention to all this are reveling. Brother Shu is amazing. He didn't even release the alien beasts and beat them all over the place. Brother Shu, fly boldly, and you've got yourself into trouble. On the other hand, the referee was also dumbfounded. He has been a referee at the Imperial Capital Academy for so many years, and he really has never seen a beast seriously injured with his bare hands. Yang Yuking didn't know when he came to the referee's side, and his cold voice seemed to come out of his bones. Referee, should you come out? Shu Li's strength obviously surpassed Yang Yuking's imagination. If Yan Kanzun didn't admit defeat, then Shu Li would create another evil. They were all students, and Yang Yuking didn't want Shu Li to have the blood of so many compatriots on his hands at such a young age. The referee was reminded by Yang Yuking, and finally came to his senses, and hurried to the stage. Student Yan Kanzun, your alien beast has lost its attack power, may I ask you to deny the defeat? Although every contestant in the Challenger League has signed a life and death certificate, there are very few who really want to fight to the death, so usually the referee will come up to inquire in this situation. If one side admits defeat, the game will be terminated. At this moment, how can Yan Kanzun persist? Although he was a bit unwilling, he still endured the severe pain and gritted his teeth. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. The referee raised his hand to signal the medical staff who had been waiting on the side to come up, lifted Yan Kanzun down, and instantly heaved a sigh of relief. What a waste. Seeing that Yan Kanzun didn't even force Shu Li's alien beast out, Shu Ling's expression was gloomy. But Lu Jiwan and other freshmen who were watching the battle at the nearest place became excited. Brother Shu is mighty. Shu Li smiled at the classmates who were cheering for him, then looked at Wen Jiang. It's your turn, come up. My god, this Shu Li is too domineering. He didn't even take a break, and just asked Wen Jiang to go up. He's not domineering, he's courting death. To fight President Wen without recovering to his full state is simply courting death. Wen Jiang also didn't expect that Shu Li's physical fitness was so strong that he was safe and sound under the attack of a strange beast, and he challenged him. You fought just now, don't you need to rest for a while? I'll give you time to adjust your state. Wen Jiang showed the attitude of a senior who cares about the younger generation, which made many people praise him unceasingly. President Wen deserves to be President Wen. Facing such a provocation, he can still be so calm and care about his opponent. I want to join Wang Yi. Indeed, President Wen is a good person, but it's okay to join Wang Yi. Unless you can get into the leadership class in Wang Yi, otherwise you will be squeezed out. Fortunately, I was not strong enough and I was not favored by Wang Yi, otherwise might be worse off now. Amidst the students' discussion, Shu Li frowned slightly. You must know that I don't have much time, so don't delay, come up. Now Shu Li doesn't know whether his defeating Wen Jiang counts as defeating the 4th place in the control system, or the 7th place in the Tianzhou list. He is a little depressed. Of course, it is best to beat both lists. That would save Shu Li a lot of time. Seeing this, Wen Jiang didn't say any more, tapped his toes lightly, and his body flew out very lightly, and landed firmly on the challenge platform. This move surprised Shu Li. He had never seen such a use of physical fitness. Not only Wen Jiang, the referee just touched the ground with his feet, and then left the stage. It seems that the trunk bone alone is not enough, he needs to learn more about the control of the body, otherwise even if he has the trunk bone, it will only increase the strength of the upper body. Seeing that Wen Jiang was ready, Shu Li never put on a fighting stance. We haven't signed the life and death certificate yet. Seeing that the referee had stepped down, Shu Li seemed to be about to blow the whistle, and found something was wrong. The referee reminded students, the top 20 on the ranking list do not need to sign the life and death certificate. As for your life and death certificate, you have already signed it just now. You only need to sign one a day, and you don't need to sign again. Embarrassment flashed across Shu Li's face, who didn't know much about the rules, but he didn't take it too seriously. After knowing the reason, Shu Li made a gesture of invitation to Wen Jiang. Wen Jiang smiled and said, you are a freshman and my junior. As a senior, I'd better let you make the move first. Wangdu College still pays more attention to the aspect of moral governance, and Wen Jiang is also preparing to join the disciplined law enforcement team, so he must maintain a perfect image so that his future can be smoother. Shu Li didn't think too much. Just like the previous game, he released a mental bullet and flew out. As expected, the bullet was stopped by Wen Jiang. After all, Shu Li's mental strength is still a bit weaker than Wen Jiang's, so it was also expected that he was stopped. But on the other side of the screen, Lu Qingyan saw the ingenuity of Shu Li's bullet and exclaimed, look at his air mass. There are no such things as guns and bullets in this world, so they naturally think that this is the spiritual force released by Shu Li. Chen Ning looked at the direction Lu Qingyan was pointing at, and also noticed something unusual. This air mass is really strange. This shape can make it easier for mental power to penetrate the opponent's body, and it can also effectively reduce resistance and increase speed. Although their spiritual power is higher than Shu Li, they have never thought of such an ingenious idea. Not only that, did you notice that when Shu Li was fighting Yan Kanzun before, the bullet exploded from the condensed form when it hit Yan Kanzun? Lu Qingyan's power of observation is the strongest among the students of the Royal Capital Academy. The more he observes carefully, the more he discovers something unusual about Shu Li. No way, who can control the spiritual power for this sake? Although the spiritual power belongs to us, the mental power that is shot out is just shot out. How can we control it? Chen Ning said that this is impossible. But he was slapped in the face in the next second. Because the few bullets blocked outside by Wen Jiang's mental power actually started to turn after finding that the road was blocked. The mental power bullet rushed to the back of Wen Jiang's mental power barrier at an extremely fast speed, and then went straight to Wen Jiang's back. It's a pity that Wen Jiang's mental strength is several points higher than Shu Li's, so he barely escaped Shu Li's attack in the end. But even so, Wen Jiang was in a cold sweat. He was no longer as personable as when he first came on stage, but rather embarrassed. Obviously, Shu Li's strength has surpassed his imagination, so he had to change from being calm at the beginning to nervous and cautious now. Really can really control. Chen Ning flicked back and forth the picture of the mental bullet turning just now, dumbfounded. Even Ji Yu Zhabin became excited. It's amazing, this year's freshman is really amazing. I want to meet him for a while too. Lu Qingyan was even more impacted. Is there really someone who can control mental power as easily as controlling his own hands and feet? This Shu Li must have an extraordinary talent. I must pull him into the spiritual department. Except for the 4 people in the villa, the other people watching the battle didn't notice the rounded side of the bullet. They only saw Wen Jiang jump suddenly, as if avoiding something. But they didn't see clearly what they were avoiding. Because the mental power bullet was blocked and there was a fierce friction with the barrier made by Wen Jiang's mental power, Shu Li immediately increased the speed of the bullet. This on-the-spot judgment and the manipulation of mental power are all first class. However, most of the students only saw that Shu Li failed in one attack and was easily dodged by Wen Jiang, like a jumping clown, which caused a lot of ridicule. Let me just say, a mere freshman dares to challenge President Wen, what a fool's dream. Shu Li should hurry up and get off the stage, otherwise he will be beaten half to death by then. It will be embarrassing. President Wen is such a nice person, so he won't beat people half to death. The scene was chaotic. Only Yang Yuqing and Xu Ling noticed something was wrong. It seemed that Shu Li was at a disadvantage, but Wen Jiang seemed a little caught off guard when he dodged just now. What exactly went wrong? They couldn't watch the replay, and the battle on the scene was in full swing. Before they could think about it, the second wave of the battle between the two had already started. Medusa's blessing also slowly appeared on Shu Li's body. Seeing that the mental power attack didn't work, Shu Li didn't use the 170 points of mental power blessed by Medusa. Instead, he wanted to see if his body with the blessing of Medusa could break Wen Jiang's mental power barrier. Is this the battle between the sons of Tianzhou? I haven't released the beast yet, and I think it can kill me in seconds. While watching the battle, many students were dumbfounded. Even if I release the alien beasts, I can't beat them, right? I've never seen anyone whose spiritual power can form an entity. Don't talk about it. Look at Shu Li. Why did he put away his mental power and charge straight up? Many people noticed the situation on the field, and Shu Li rushed forward without any mental protection. Isn't he crazy? Could it be that the failure of the attack just now hit him too hard? This battle was about the dignity of the new and old students, and the old students stood on Wen Jiang's side, swarming and mocking Shu Li. And the freshmen were not to be outdone. Who is crazy? Didn't you see Brother Shu defeated Li Bao with one blow just now? Our Brother Shu is not only mentally strong, but also physically fit. The old students taunted. Do you know the mental strength and physical fitness of our President Wen? I don't think Shu Li can reach a fraction of the president's. There was a fierce quarrel between the old and new students, and everyone looked to the infield. Shu Li successfully stored his strength. With the assistance of his trunk bones, the blessing of Medusa and Shu Li's excellent physical fitness, his strength exploded in an instant, and he went straight to attack Wen Jiang. And Wen Jiang didn't pay attention to Shu Li's attack from the very beginning. No matter how strong his body is, how could he break the barrier made of mental power? Wen Jiang regained his calm expression. He was no longer caught off guard just now, and regained his elegant demeanor. But when Shu Li approached suddenly, Wen Jiang actually felt that he was facing a beast, and he didn't give him any time to dodge or hesitate. Shu Li's attack followed. his fist covered in reddish snakeskin hit Wen Jiang's mental barrier. Lithium. With an ear-piercing sound, huge mental power spread out, and the original mental power barrier was unceremoniously released, affecting many students who were watching nearby. All students retreat outside the safe zone. The referee hurriedly evacuated the surrounding students, and as the closest person to the battle platform, the referee also turned pale in an instant and suffered quite a few injuries. Even the referee's face is so ugly. I don't know how far Wen Jiang's mental strength has reached. It seems that he hasn't seen him for a while, and his strength has improved even more. Ji Yuzhabin saw the pale-faced referee, and imagined what would happen if Wen Jiang's mental power hit him. However, Chen Ning stared closely at Xu Li's fist with burning eyes. How strong is Xu Li's physical fitness that can break the mental barrier? Ji Yuzhabin also said, if he is from our strengthening department, our instructor will definitely be crazy about it. At this moment, Zhou Yu, the director of the strengthening department, was indeed watching the live broadcast, staring at Xu Li with eyes full of certainty. Who said that our reinforcement department has always been the weakest? How strong is the physical fitness that can crush the mental power? It seems that I have to find the principal. Such a good seed in the reinforcement department must not be missed. Quote. Just when everyone had their own thoughts, Wen Jiang suddenly vomited a mouthful of blood. The shattering of the mental power will also bring a huge blow and backlash to the awakened ones. Obviously, Wen Jiang is in a very bad state now. Centipede. Wen Jiang fell into a dangerous situation, and directly called out his strange beast. Centipedes are not the same as ordinary centipedes. Ordinary centipedes are only small ones that crawl on the ground and can be trampled to death by a human foot. But Wen Jiang's centipede is different. His centipede is an ancient centipede that lived in the Carboniferous period. Before it mutated, it was more than 2 meters long. One can imagine how big it will be after mutating, and how strong its fighting power will be. The top 20 students in the top 20 rankings of the Imperial College would generally not release alien beasts, unless their alien beasts were not very huge. Because they can occupy the top 20 on the list, it means that their alien beasts are very powerful, and their size is also unusually huge, and their attacks are very wide in terms of strength and range. So they usually stop at the end, and only release the strange beast unless something unexpected happens. But this time Wen Jiang suffered mental backlash, and subconsciously released his own beast. The referee's complexion changed after he breathed a sigh of relief, and quickly evacuated the onlookers. All students leave the scene. Seeing that the situation was not good, the instructors present also began to evacuate the students. This kind of situation is rare in the challenge competition. No one knows what will happen. All they can do now is to evacuate the crowd and try to ensure that there are no casualties. The live broadcast equipment was also damaged by the aftermath of mental power, and the replay could not be performed normally. Inside the challenge stage, the referee wanted to go in to have a look at the situation, but they couldn't. The giant centipede occupied most of the challenge field, completely surrounding the situation inside. Do you want to stop it? The referee hesitated. He was just a small B-level awakener. Even if he stepped forward to stop him, what effect would it have? No, the students have been evacuated. If you feel uncomfortable, you can also evacuate. Leave this place to me. Yang Yuking appeared next to the referee at some point, and frowned as he looked at the giant centipede in the arena. But the referee looked at Yang Yuking and said hesitantly, Even if you are a mentor, I can't. How can a referee leave during a fight? Not to mention violating his professional regulations, it is also irresponsible for the safety of students. I am the deputy captain of the law enforcement team. Now there is a critical situation. I will control the scene. You step back first. I will take care of it for you. Yang Yuking, as the deputy captain of the law enforcement team, has the right to let the referee off. Hearing what Yang Yuking said, the referee took a worried look at the field, and then hurriedly left the field. Then Teacher Yang, be careful yourself. Yang Yuking nodded and looked into the arena. At this moment, because of Wen Jiang's mental instability, his ancient centipede also started to destroy frantically, destroying the scene to a complete mess. But Xu Li was still avoiding the centipede's attack in front of him, as if he was thinking about something, and didn't release his Medusa. Xu Li, the students have been evacuated, you can do whatever you want. Not far away, Shu Li heard Yang Yuking's voice and smiled. Thank you, Teacher Yang. Then come out, Medusa. Following Shu Li's command, a giant python appeared in the arena, and the two giant beasts squeezed together, filling the entire challenge arena to the brim, even showing signs of collapsing. This is the top SSS grade Medusa. In the arena, Yang Yuking looked at the scarlet python in front of him and was shocked. In the arena, the appearance of Medusa put great pressure on the ancient centipede. The SSS-level alien beasts suppressed other alien beasts to some extent, not to mention that Medusa is of the spiritual system. It was the first time for Yang Yuking to see an SSS-level beast. Medusa's whole body was scarlet, and the air seemed to vibrate indistinctly wherever it passed, giving people an invisible pressure. Roar! The ancient centipede backed away, and he felt the suppression from the bloodline when he was a little mad at first. Medusa, don't kill it, just teach it a lesson. Before Medusa's attack, Shu Li didn't want to remind her with peace of mind. After all, this Wen Jiang didn't offend him, and he didn't mean to kill him, and Shu Li wasn't a bloodthirsty person, so naturally he wouldn't let Medusa kill the ancient centipede. Medusa took the order, swam over in a small area with her tail that couldn't be used as if she was wronged, and at the same time slowly released her mental power. When Medusa is not angered, the spiritual power released by Medusa is only about 150 points, which is a little lower than Shu Li, so the damage to the ancient centipede is almost equal to no. An alien beast with its own spiritual coercion. Yang Yuking felt the coercion emanating from Medusa outside the court, and some. Not only that, Medusa also exudes an ancient and decaying breath, as if breaking through time and space from billions of years ago. No, I have to bring Jiang out first. Shu Ling had evacuated the students at some point, returned to the scene, looked at Wen Jiang who was mentally unstable in the field, and wanted to bring them out. This kind of behavior is completely caused by Shu Ling's concern, and even Yang Yuking knows that Wen Jiang's spirit is not stable now. If he rushes in rashly, he might be accidentally injured. Moreover, Yang Yuking knew Shu Ling's strength. Although Shu Ling's status in the school was relatively important, Shu Ling's strength was not strong. Although his strange beast is not bad, Shu Ling relies on his family background to be better, and his mental strength and physical fitness are almost strengthened by drinking strengthening potions. Since he was young, he has almost no actual combat experience. Going in to save people is no different from sending them to death. Don't get excited, wait outside. Shu Li has a sense of measure and won't hurt Wen Jiang. Yang Yuking could feel that Shu Ling was really worried about Wen Jiang, so he stopped him. Properly, won't it hurt Wen Jiang? Shu Li just killed a school student the day before. Now that Jiang is mentally unstable, Shu Li will definitely take the opportunity to attack. Even considering Shu Ling's concern, it would be chaotic, but this is too serious, completely making Shu Li a small team who takes advantage of others' danger. Yang Yuking was a little dissatisfied with this. Teacher Shu, even if you rush in now, with your weak body and strength, you may be courting death if you go in. Yang Yuking, I am your senior. Is this how you talk to your senior and your boss? In the law enforcement team, Shu Ling was regarded as Yang Yuking's immediate superior. Seeing such an offensive subordinate, Shu Ling naturally found it unbelievable. Yang Yuking didn't take his words to heart. Mr. Shu, you also said before that as a newcomer to the law enforcement team, I naturally have to give me a certain amount of time to accept this identity. Am I getting familiar with this? Shu Ling was speechless by Yang Yuking's words, but at the same time, Shu Ling also calmed down. He knew how his strength came from. If he really broke in like this, maybe by then he was the only one who was hurt. After weighing the pros and cons, Tutor Shu really stood on the sidelines, looking anxiously at Wen Jiang inside. Why haven't the other tutors come back yet? Will it take so long to evacuate the students? Instructor Shu originally wanted to ask Yang Yuking to go, but Yang Yuking obviously looked like he had nothing to do with him, and Instructor Shu couldn't afford to provoke Yang Yuking, so he had to stand aside and worry. In the arena, Medusa was fighting with the ancient centipede. Shu Li looked at the two fighting beasts and was not in a hurry. Medusa has not even released the 170 points of mental power so far. It can be seen that Medusa Sarah didn't feel the pressure. Shu Li's eyes fell on Wen Jiang who was bleeding from his eyes not far away. The physical phenomenon of mental power backlash is bleeding from the 7 orifices. Obviously, Wen Jiang was seriously injured this time. It is also the first time for Xu Li to use spiritual power to fight against someone who can materialize spiritual power. Xu Li really did not expect such a serious consequence. So when Wen Jiang was emotionally unstable, Xu Li found the right opportunity, bypassed the two beasts, knocked Wen Jiang unconscious and took him out. Yang Yuking looked at Xu Li who was coming towards him, and showed a sarcasm smile to Teacher Xu. I said that Xu Li is not a person who will take advantage of others' danger, but Wen Jiang, he is your key student, right? Breaking up, is it so fragile? It seems that it can't be much stronger. This incident happened strangely. Who knows how Xu Li won? According to the measurement results, Xu Li's mental strength and physical fitness are much lower than Jiang's. He can break Jiang's mental strength with his fists. There must be something wrong. I will thoroughly investigate this matter. While Xu Ling was talking, Xu Li had brought Wen Jiang to the two of them, and handed Wen Jiang to Xu Ling. Good job. Yang Yuking patted Xu Li's shoulder, and it was rare to hear a word of praise from her mouth. If Xu Li hadn't stopped the ancient centipede and Wen Jiang inside this time, there would probably be a lot of students affected this time. Therefore, as the tutor of the college, she should thank Xu Li. Should be done. Xu Ling gave Xu Li a cold look, and then hugged Wen Jiang. Xu Li, we are not done with this matter. If something happens to Jiang, I will make you pay the price. After speaking, Xu Ling took Wen Jiang away. The trauma caused by mental attacks often causes the awakened person to have hallucinations, and if it is more serious, the awakened person will directly become a fool. It seemed that Wen Jiang was seriously injured this time, and he didn't know what would happen. But Xu Li is not afraid of Xu Ling's provocation. This time they are in the challenge competition, and they also signed the life and death certificate, so Xu Ling has no reason to come to him for trouble. Xu Ling is like this, she has a small mind, so don't take it too seriously. Looking at the two alien beasts that disappeared on the field, Yang Yuking knew that the battle was over. Xu Li nodded. Although he didn't have much contact with Xu Ling, he could tell that Xu Ling was a villain who must take revenge. This time he hurt the student he carefully cultivated, maybe how he will hate him. But now Xu Li is more concerned about another matter. Mr. Yang, if I beat Wen Jiang this time, does it mean that I have successfully captured the top 20 of the two lists? Yes, Yang Yuking replied flatly. He looked up at this big boy who was not yet 20, his clothes were stained with a lot of dust from the battle just now, and he looked a little dusty, looking at her with a smile on his face, like a child asking for sugar. Hearing this answer, Xu Li breathed a sigh of relief, and seeing that he looked a little embarrassed, he said, Teacher, is there anything else? If not, I'll go back first. Yang Yuking knew that he wanted to go back and tidy up, so he nodded and said, Go back. Xu Li smeared oil on the soles of his feet and rushed out. There are crowds of students piled up outside the house, including old students and new students. Just now I saw Xu Ling rushing out with Wen Jiang in his arms, and he was startled when he saw it, but Wen Jiang was bleeding from all 7 orifices, he was in a state of distress, as if he had lost his breath. Seeing Xu Li's intact appearance now, someone couldn't help shouting, Brother Xu is forever a god. Brother Xu is awesome, easily challenging the top 20, awakened. Wen Jiang, it's simply vulnerable. Such voices kept coming, and soon the freshmen formed a circle around Xu Li, yelling at the same time. All of them had a brash look on their faces, as if they were the ones who defeated Wen Jiang. On the other hand, the old students who were far away, all harboring evil intentions, all of them had a bad complexion when they heard these vulgar and mocking words. Someone even shouted at Xu Li, You hurt President Wen, Tilan will not let you go. Hearing this strange name, Xu Li looked puzzled. Xu Jiwan stepped forward, first checked to see if Xu Li was injured, and then explained to him, It's Wen Tilan, he's an intern tutor at the Imperial Capital Academy, he's currently out of town, and he's also Wen Jiang's kitchen. Xu Li didn't take it seriously. The younger brother who was beaten as a big brother would naturally stand out, but did he have such a big background? He was actually an intern tutor at the Imperial Capital Academy, and he seemed to have a lot of background. Xu Jiwan pondered for a while, and said slowly, Wen Tilan's strength is not comparable to ours at all. It's okay if he confronts you head-on. If he uses some dirty methods, you should pay attention. Tricking. Xu Li couldn't believe that an intern tutor at the Imperial Capital Academy would do such a thing, and said indifferently, Probably not. That's because you don't know Wen Jiang. Do you know why he is an intern tutor? Shu Li shook his head, and the freshmen around him were also confused, not clear about the muddy water inside. Shu Jiwan patted Shu Li on the shoulder. Let's go, let's talk while walking. Seeing that there were not many people around, Shu Li nodded and followed Shu Jiwan's footsteps. Shu Jiwan looked at the law enforcement team standing side by side in a military posture, and frowned. Go quickly. Only then did Shu Li see that the law enforcement team over there looked at him as if they wanted to kill him on the spot, shook his head, then turned and walked towards the other side. Why is he just a trainee tutor? Shu Jiwan is not someone from this side who can be so clear about the private affairs of the Imperial Capital Academy, but it opened Shu Li's eyes. Shu Jiwan said with a bad complexion. Because he has a rough temper, he is not suitable to be a tutor, and his personality is unpredictable and extremely cruel, so he just got an empty title in the Imperial Capital Academy. Extremely brutal. Yes, it is said that his father provoked him and was killed by the strange beast he released. It may have been a manslaughter, but Wen Jiang has no repentance, and the matter was suppressed by someone. After thinking for a while, Shu Jiwan added, the other thing is that Wen Jiang loves his younger brother so much, he even likes Wen Jiang to the point of madness. Now that you seriously hurt Wen Jiang, he must not let you go. Quote. Shu Li frowned, just from Shu Jiwan's narration. You can see what kind of person this Wen Jiang is. In layman's terms, he is a pervert who killed his own father and has dirty thoughts for his younger brother. After sending Shu Li to his dormitory all the way, Shu Jiwan patted Shu Li on the shoulder and said solemnly, if you need help, you can find me at any time. Knowing that Shu Jiwan was grateful to him because of being rescued, that's why he was so worried, and Shu Li couldn't help him, so he nodded and said, okay, if there is a need, I will definitely ask you for help. As soon as the words fell, Shu Jiwan asked in surprise, Shu Li, have you put away your worker ants? Shu Li shook his head, then turned to look at the position of the worker ants. I saw that the place where the huge worker ants should have been parked was actually empty. Question mark. This is also impossible. Could it be that someone deliberately took away the worker ants? Host, do you need help? Shu Li's complexion sank. Yes. Start perception program. After all, the worker ants are alien beasts belonging to Shu Li, and soon Shu Li sensed the worker ants' position. Second section of the West Third Ring Road outside the campus. Do you know the way? Shu Jiwan was taken aback, and hurriedly said, that piece is all the Wen family's fault. Wen's family made a move so soon. Shu Li couldn't help but wonder how long it had just passed. Shu Jiwan looked distressed, and asked after a while, are you really going? The Wen family is currently the head of Wen Jiang, and he must have heard that his younger brother was seriously injured, so he rushed back quickly and used this method to trick Shu Li into the past. Stole my worker ants, I'm not a coward, I must go. A gloomy look flashed across Shu Li's eyes, he had to meet Wen Jiang today. Shu Jiwan had no choice but to summon his own means of transportation, and took Shu Li to Wen's house. Halfway through, Shu Jiwan was still a little worried, and his eyebrows were twisted into a Sichuan shape. Wen Jiang's methods are disgraceful, my mental strength can't perceive what he did for the time being, try it. Knowing that Shu Jiwan was worried too much, Shu Li didn't say much, and released his mental power to investigate, but it was in vain. There are only two possibilities. One is that Zhang Tilan's spiritual power is ridiculously high, even if he has the buff bonus of Medusa, he cannot perceive his existence. Another possibility is that Zhang Tilan didn't need to play tricks against him, because he had absolute self-confidence. Either way, the current situation is not optimistic. Finally approaching Wen's area, Shu Li saw his giant worker ants trapped in a barrier from a distance. Surrounded by 4 or 5 awakened people. When they got closer, a gust of wind came, and the two of them fell down straight. The cold wind whizzed by his ears. In order to prevent Shu Jiwan from being injured, Shu Li stretched out his hand to give him a hand, and landed steadily, stopping in front of the 5 awakened ones. The eyebrows and eyes of the man in the lead were carved out of the same mold as Wen Jiang's. Unlike Wen Jiang's gentleness, this man exuded a bloodthirsty aura, and his murderous aura brought about by the battle for a long time gave him a majestic aura. He strolled forward, looked down at the dusty Shu Li, and said coldly, "You are Shu Li." There was no need to guess at all. Shu Jiwan on the side didn't even have the courage to look him in the eye. How could he beat Wen Jiang? Not to mention that Wen Jiang would be bleeding from all his orifices, he might become a fool. Shu Li said, "It's me." Seeing that he was neither humble nor overbearing, Wen Tilan's expression suddenly changed, his brown eyes suddenly turned blood red, and the bright red blood flowed down his eye sockets into his eyeballs, making him look extremely frightening. "You are so brave. It's really ridiculous." Hearing his words, Shu Li almost laughed angrily. "What's the matter?" Wen Jiang was picky first, so he didn't dare to admit it when he lost. Immediately, Shu Li's complexion darkened. "Please figure it out before you talk again. What does Wen Jiang's own loss have to do with me? As his big brother, why don't you speak well of him and blame me? What, does the Wen family have no successors?" The corner of Wen Tilan's mouth curled into a mocking smile. "Where did the pheasant come from? I'm too lazy to talk to you so much. Since you slandered my brother, I will never let you go. Today is your death day." As soon as the words fell, Wen Tilan raised his palm and hit Shu Li. A strong wind blows towards the face, the same kind as the one that was in the air just now. Shu Li dodged sideways, opened the analysis panel, and the information that appeared out of nowhere really made his heart skip a beat. The spiritual power is 190, which is 20 higher than that of Medusa. Not only that, but the awakening level has reached SS2. This can no longer be described as outstanding. Are you a mouse, jumping up and down, dare to fight Wen Jiang, dare not fight me? Wen Tilan scoffed. Even if he didn't use mental strength to attack him, his physical fitness was much higher than Shu Li's, and he could be sent to the west with one punch. Perhaps Shu Li just dodged, causing Wen Tilan's violent temper to rise instantly, and the crimson totem on his arm lit up. Shu Jiwan was startled, and shouted, "Shu Li, run, he is going to summon a strange beast." At the same time, a beautiful figure landed steadily in front of Shu Li. Yang Yuqing looked at Wen Tilan with a cold face. "Turn my students to pass me first." Wen Tilan frowned when he saw the woman who was as cold as ice. "This is my business, don't meddle in it." How could Yang Yuqing not know what Wen Tilan was thinking, and responded indifferently, "I would like to bet and admit defeat." These words ignited Wen Tilan's anger even more, and the totem that had been suppressing the light showed its color again. "Then you can be buried with him." Yang Yuqing frowned. She really didn't expect this Wen Tilan to be so stubborn. She hadn't contacted him for many years and had no accurate information to know how strong he is now. "If you are not careful, you will be buried here together with Shu Li." After all, she has seen Wen Tilan's methods before. When Shu Li was waiting for Wen Tilan to release his strange beast, a barrier appeared in front of him and Yang Yuqing in an instant, and then he saw only a familiar figure walking towards this side, followed by a weak Lu Fufang woman. "Headmaster!" Yang Yuqing yelled. His eyes touched the girl behind him, his brows gradually relaxed. At the same time, Wen Tilan was stunned. "Why did you come out?" The woman whose face was as pale as paper suddenly scolded. "If I don't come out again, this Wen family will be lost by you again." Shu Li was startled. He couldn't tell that Wen Tilan actually had such a mother. The principal retracted the barrier and looked at Shu Li with a smile, scared. Shu Li shook his head. He was ready for a desperate fight just now, but he didn't know that Cheng Yaojin was killed halfway, but this was also a disguised form of helping himself. Adjusting his attitude, Shu Li responded, "No." Wen Tilan didn't dare to make trouble in front of the principal, so he snorted coldly and dismissed the summons. Just now, the weak woman pointed at Wen Tilan and scolded, "Your brother is dying, and you still have the mood to make trouble here. Do you want to completely wipe out the Wen family to make you happy?" The originally pale cheeks turned rosy because of the emotion, and he didn't even cough a few times. Wen Tilan didn't listen to persuasion, and said coldly, "I didn't cause trouble, and I will avenge my brother." The woman said again, "You killed your father, don't you want to make me mad now, so you are willing to do so?" Wen Tilan was silent. The principal smoothed things over, and his attitude was still amicable. "Tai Lin, let's postpone the personal grievances between you and Shu Li. Now it's time for the freshman challenge. As an intern tutor at Imperial College, you can't because the students won the challenge. Are there conflicts? To avoid being criticized, let's take a step back." Wen Tilan gave a deep grace, and glared at Shu Li. "You wait for me, let you retire." Shu Li didn't bother to talk to him, and saw Wen Tilan being dragged away by his mother. The principal walked up to Shu Li and said, "You don't have to worry, since you are a student of Wangdu Academy, we have an obligation to care about your safety." Shu Li nodded, and then said, "Why did the principal come here?" The headmaster narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "Now you have to thank Mr. Luo. As soon as he found out that Wen Tilan had taken away your worker ants, he knew that Wen Tilan was going to target you, so I went to find Mother Wen. Right now, it seems that Mr. Luo owes me another meal." After the episode ended, the four parted ways. Shu Jiwan followed Shu Li. Seeing that the atmosphere was too awkward, Shu asked casually, "How is your pet?" When Shu Li thought of the fact that the consonant rose to the S level through the evolutionary space, he felt a little relieved, and said without thinking, "You mean that consonant? It is an S-level alien beast. It's just that the level dropped because of the broken horn, and I repaired it for him, and it became level 5 again." Quote. Hearing this, Shu Jiwan was dumbfounded. "Are you kidding me?" Swallowing his saliva, Shu Jiwan looked at Shu Li in disbelief. He was not surprised because Ling Shi was level 5, but he was surprised that this person is so perverted that he repaired his horns. The pet consonants that everyone didn't like, he bought it casually. How long did it take? And it evolved into an S level, and his vision is also poisonous, you can see it. Suddenly there was an unwritten idea in his heart. Shu Jiwan said rather embarrassedly, "Brother Shu, please do me a favor." "What's up?" Shu Jiwan sorted out his wording, and asked cautiously, "Brother Shu, you can choose one for me too." Shu Li glanced at Shu Jiwan in surprise, but he didn't say much, which is understandable. After all, no one wants to spend a high price to buy high-end exotic beasts. Besides, they may not be able to afford them. Spend that wrong money. Thinking about it, at least this guy bought him 2 blood-melting grasses, which will be useful in the future, so he nodded and said, "Okay, it's a small matter. It's not too late, let's go now." Shu Jiwan rubbed his hands excitedly, with a hopeful expression on his face, imagining in his heart that Shu Li picked a top-quality beast for him, and exchanged it for a high-end beast at a low price. Why not do it? Shu Li pointed to the filth all over his body. "At least let me change my clothes." Only then did Shu Jiwan realize that Shu Li came in a hurry and didn't even change his clothes just now. He was overly excited and apologized quickly. "I'm sorry, I'm fine. I'm going to the market. You've helped me so much. I'll see you off. Set." Shu Li chuckled. "Okay. Don't want free things for nothing, not to mention that it's normal for him to get a little reward for his efforts, and he can feel at ease." All the way to the market, bustling crowds and hawkers gathered, more people than the last time I came. Shu Li couldn't help asking in doubt, "Why are there so many people?" Shu Jiwan explained, "You don't know that, today is the weekend." After a pause, he said again, "Go to a specialty store." Shu Li shook his head. "The specialty store treats you like a pig, just look at the stalls. It is not unreasonable to say that people's specialty stores rent water and electricity, so the price must be ridiculously high." At this moment, Shu Jiwan shouted, "Brother Shu, what do you think of this snow leopard?" Shu Li looked up, and saw a huge cage on the stone table in front of the small stall. The strange beast inside was covered in white, with strong limbs, fierce eyes, and a pair of fiery red eyes that were particularly eye-catching. Opening the analysis panel, I saw that there was a B2 level alien beast written on it. Shu Li shook his head. "It's just an empty show, and this snow leopard has already taken shape, so it's hard to have room for improvement." Shu Jiwan's face collapsed in an instant, and he asked puzzledly, "Why?" "You see, this snow leopard has a strong body, and it is not extraordinary at first glance. It is probably the treasure of this small stall, otherwise it would not be released in such an attractive place." Shu Li did not agree with his idea. "Look at the crowd here, they just look at it and don't buy it. If it is really of such high quality, why would anyone not buy it?" Hearing Shu Li's words, Shu Jiwan took a closer look. The crowd around them indeed stepped forward to take a look, but then shook their heads and left, scattered. Shu Jiwan shook his head, and was about to transfer to another house, but the owner of this small stall rushed forward and said to him with a smile, "Young master, don't rush to leave, this snow leopard is ours. Even though he has already formed, he still has a lot of room for improvement, just give him a blood spirit grass to rise to level 6. Hearing this, Shu Li almost laughed out loud. The snow leopard has indeed taken shape, and the blood spirit grass can indeed help him improve his level, but the blame is that the blood spirit grass is not such a cheap thing. Deep meaning. Before Shu Li could grab Shu Jiwan, the stall owner added, I have the best blood spirit grass here. If you want to take this snow leopard away, I can give you 20% off for 10%. The price is given to you, and you are guaranteed to get better value for money. Sure enough, is this the legendary bundled transaction? As for the stall owner, is there any blood spirit grass here? That is another matter, mainly to see if Shu Jiwan is a big head. Shu Jiwan glanced at Shu Li suspiciously, winked wildly, and asked him if he wanted to buy it. Shu Li looked away, looked at the stall owner, and said with a smile, there are blood spirit grass in this kind of market, such an expensive medicine, how much do you want to sell? The stall owner saw that Shu Li was a smart person from the very beginning, so he didn't give him too much trouble, and said straight to the point, it's only 10 million euros. When Shu Jiwan heard this, he said with a livid face, your price is even more expensive than this strange beast. Shu Li stopped Shu Jiwan behind him calmly, and then slowly said to the stall owner, if you really have blood spirit grass here, this price is not surprising, but I don't know if you can take it out. Inspection first. At the mention of this point, the peddler was a little flustered, but he responded calmly, I don't have any stock here at the moment, and I may have to get it from Curry if I need it, but it's best for you to be sure, otherwise, or it's not good for Bianbai to take a trip. Shu Li smiled lightly, but a calculating light flashed in his eyes. This is playing him for a fool. Just now he said that he has it here, but now he says it is only in the warehouse. This discerning person knows what is going on, and the flustered talk is too low quality. Are we sure we can ask you to bring it over now? Shu Li straightened his face and asked politely. The peddler's face immediately changed, and his face was as white as a piece of white paper. He thought Shu Jiwan was being taken advantage of. He didn't know what the blood spirit grass was, so he could fool him. How could he know that there was a smart person next to him? Is it about to be revealed? But he was not reconciled, thought for a while, and said ruthlessly, after all, this blood spirit grass is a valuable item. If you want to get it, you have to pay half of the deposit first. Backquote, do you have blood spirit grass here? If not, forget it. Quote. Shu Li yelled loudly on purpose, attracting a lot of pedestrians, and after a while, the small stall was filled with water. After all, blood spirit grass is a rare commodity, and it is very rare to see it on the market. If there is one in this stall, hurry up and grab it. You have blood spirit grass, right? How many? I don't care how many you have, wrap them up for me, I want them all. How much is it? Is there any? Why hasn't it been displayed yet? The stall owner's complexion turned pale, and he glared at Shu Li. He couldn't get off the tiger for a while, and then said after a while, let me call the warehouse and ask. Zhao then ran to the back in a hurry. Shu Jiwan elbowed Shu Li, and asked curiously, do you think he is really strong here? No, Shu Li answered firmly. Then why are you still pushing him? I didn't force him. Who told him to favor my friend? Shu Jiwan was at a loss for words for a while, and stared at Shu Li for a long time before turning his gaze to the stall owner. After waiting for a few minutes, someone in the crowd couldn't bear it anymore, and shouted towards the other side, is there any? No, don't waste my time, how long are you going to delay? Did you all say it? That's right, I didn't pretend to be anything. What a bad luck. Advertisement. The small vendor was forced to be helpless, so he came out slowly, and said with an apologetic face, I'm sorry, everyone, there is no stock in the warehouse, and I will inform everyone in time next time when there is stock, and I have interrupted everyone's time, please forgive me. No matter what you do, you don't have it, you just pretend, you don't have any credit at all. Remember the name of this stall, don't come here next time. That's right, there is no integrity at all. Everyone cursed and scattered away from Shaoxin's door, leaving only two solitary voices, which were Shu Li and Shu Jiwan. The stall owner knew that his behavior had been exposed, his face flushed, and he said in a low voice, I'm sorry, I have wasted your time for so long, and I don't know how to make up for it. How about this? One thing, no matter what it is or what price it is, I will give it to you for free. Seeing the earnest apology of the stall owner, Shu Jiwan couldn't bear to lose his face, and just responded lightly, "That's how it is. This small stall does not occupy a large area, but it is very crowded, does not even have a place to stand." There were a few young wolf dogs on the side of the road. They looked unusually cute, and a few were howling, trying to attract the attention of passers-by. Shu Li went up to look at the little wolf dogs, opened the analysis panel, and saw that the level of these little wolf dogs was clearly marked on it, which was actually the same level as that of the snow leopard. Unstable, may drop to C5 level at any time. He squatted down, petted a few lively little wolf dogs, then raised his head, and said to Shu Jiwan, "Huh." Shu Jiwan shifted his gaze to a few wolf dogs, and said with some embarrassment, "There are so few, I guess they don't have any fighting ability." Shu Jiwan's mental strength was not as high as Shu Li's, so he couldn't tell the true level of these little wolf dogs. In his eyes, these little wolf dogs might not even be at level C4. I couldn't help being a little disgusted, but continued to say calmly on the face, "Are you sure it's really all right?" Not only did he think so, even the passers-by who had just left saw that Shu Li had picked a little wolfhound here, and even laughed disdainfully. "I want it to have the ability to fight, so it's okay to keep it as a pet." All right. Hearing this, Shu Jiwan's complexion was also a little uneasy, and he stood by the side of the road rather cautiously, not knowing how to respond for a while. The surrounding crowd waited to see the good show, and stopped to see what Shu Li would say. Did they really think that this little wolf dog can be regarded as a strange beast? Unexpectedly, Shu Li casually picked up a pure white wolf dog and fought like no one else, while jokingly said to Shu Jiwan, "Don't you think it is very similar to your temperament? Don't look at him as weak now, there is room for improvement in everything." Shu Jiwan was taken aback, and suddenly remembered the consonants with the broken horn, and his trust in Shu Li went up to a higher level, and the eyes he looked at Shu Li became firm. "Okay, I trust you, brother Shu. I thought Shu Li was some kind of big shot, but in the end I chose a little wolf dog. Even though he is famous agak and everything has room for improvement, it can't help but make people feel that he is just swollen face to pretend to be fat." Disdainful laughter erupted from the crowd of onlookers, and some even ridiculed. "Hey, he even picked a wolf puppy. It's awesome. What's the matter? Is he still expecting the little wolf dog to do something big? Okay, just take it as a joke. If you are serious, you will lose. I'm sorry for the little brother next to him, who believed him in a daze. The days to come will be hard." Hearing these people's mocking words, the stall owner came forward with a smile on his mouth and asked, "I'll wrap it up for you right now, or I'll give you another bag of grain." The so-called food is the food specially prepared for strange animals, which are basically some medicinal herbs with different grades. Seeing that the stall was so dilapidated, Shu Li didn't expect him to produce anything, but don't waste the free things, maybe they can be sold at a good price after being washed by the evolutionary space. A smile instantly filled Shu Li's face. "Then I will trouble you." The stall owner smiled, packed some herbs with extremely low grades, and handed them to Shu Li. "Go slowly, you two, I won't send them away." The two left the stall side by side. Shu Jiwan looked at the medicinal herbs in the cowhide bag and frowned. The medicinal herbs of this grade are the lowest level of strange beasts, and they don't eat them. Isn't this a waste? Shu Li didn't take it seriously, patted him on the shoulder, and said with a smile, "If you believe in me, I can turn waste into treasure." "Brother Shu, I definitely believe you. That's easy to say. This little wolf dog will let me go for a few days first, and then I will give it to you, is that okay?" Shu Jiwan nodded. Anyway, he didn't expect the little wolf dog to do anything. Even if Shu Li asked him to give it to him, he would give it to him without saying a word. "Brother, don't look at it as small, it has a very high room for improvement, and it can rise to 5 levels in less than 2 months, do you believe it? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more."